I just pressed record.
We're back.
Let's
Oh
go.
shit!
It only took a
Welcome
year.
back to the Awfully Hot Coffee Podcast. Where we tell you what's awfully hot, what's awfully not.
What number podcast is this? Like our sixth
Something.
Maybe.
So,
Something like
It might be 5.
in 2 years?
in 2 years.
we have
It was gonna be
podcast
our year.
as
This was
we
gonna be our
do
year.
It
Actual.
was. It really was.
This is a quality over quantity podcast.
You know.
Yeah, it's our
New
sixth.
member.
Yeah.
We're all remote over Zoom, and it's definitely going to be like the worst actual quality podcast of anyone.
Sound
For
quality.
some of the eagle-eyed viewers, you might notice that there's a new face among us.
We have a new member.
Another white kid,
What a shock.
Oh,
Mr. Sam Cronister, to the
Nice
Awfully
to
Hot
meet
Coffee
everybody.
podcast.
It's a pleasure to be on. These are my loved ones here, so it's very nice to be with them.
okay.
Viewers, you're going to see that this man has some taste. There's a reason why he's here. We're pulling out the big guns for the top 20 albums
Yeah.
of
You
20.
already know our taste is awesome, so you're going to love his.
So we are not just doing hip hop. We're not doing 3/4 hip hop and Jacob fucking it up. We're doing just top 20 albums off the jump. And we've learned from our past mistakes. It's not really a mistake. Y'all just get more content. But we're going to make this all one podcast. And we're going to speed run through the first 10 and then get nitty gritty and nice and juicy with the top 10s for everyone. So I think that we should do this just circle clockwise, start with someone, just go 10, kind of do our little, hey, this is why I like it, and then just keep going. So I think that we should start with Brendan, honestly,
Why do you think that?
because
All right.
yours is the one that I'm most intrigued about. Because the thing, everyone, like, I have little clues here and there. Like, I feel like if I had to, I could probably guess like 5 to like 7 out of Brendan's top 10. But the order, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen with any of y'all.
Am I just going straight through 20 to 10, or am I just naming one and then we're going in order?
I think we should go in circles. I think
Okay.
that would work.
Well, my number 20 is Only for Dolphins, Action Bronson.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Honestly, never really cared about Action Bronson or any of his projects, but this one hit. Everything he says, I'm listening. I'm right there for it. I believe him.
Yeah. The thing with Action Bronson is that I don't think like there's a person who embodies like the antithesis of Cap more than him. Like the biggest takeaway that I got from that was that he's just butt naked everywhere, and I believe him.
Flying out of a plane.
Butt
Who
naked, ripping
knows?
up the slopes, butt naked, jumping off the boats, I believe is the line. Godly.
The sports, and I'm sure it happened. There was just no one to document it, but it's fine. So does everyone have like the same circle on Zoom? Like, is it me and Brendan at the top, and then
Now,
I have you guys like in a neat little row going down.
okay?
There's me, Brendan, Ben, Jamie, Sam.
Well, just because everything that I say matters, I think we should go Brendan, then me, then Sam, then Jacob, then Jamie, because that's the order that's in on my computer.
I mean, shit, that's the
Okay.
order I got too.
All right,
White
sick.
man putting himself main character syndrome. I see it.
That's what we do. So my number 20, for you guys in particular, this probably isn't going to be super low, but to like the music community at large, it might be. At number 20, I have What's Your Pleasure by Jessie Ware. An album that I listened to once when it came out. Didn't really care for it all too much, but when I revisited it, it really caught my eye. Spotlight is an amazing song. Like, this album just makes me feel like I want to be in a European club, just shaking my ass on everybody.
Hey.
And that's the vibe it goes for, and it achieves it. So, yeah, my number 20.
my number 20 is Leanne La Us. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
self-titled album.
You got it.
Shout out to the God B. Dot who put
Fuck yeah.
me onto this one. Told me on this one was like a lot of the live recordings on YouTube. Oh my God, magical stuff. But yeah, like just if you love D'Angelo, you'll love this album.
She's just so talented. It's too stupid.
Understandable. My number 20 is 3M by Tony Velour. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I see you, Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah, when I listened to this album, I've never really been huge on Tony. Like I just like vaguely knew he existed in the hyperpop scene, but like he kind of just like blew me away with this album. There's a lot of like really, really interesting production from a lot of like up and coming like hip hop people. Umru's on here a lot, and like I don't know, it's just like a lot of what he's saying is like really, really interesting and from like a voice that I had never seen before. Like I don't know, it just really did it for me. A lot of the production is fucking crazy. He's dropping lines like eating Fruit Loops, chilling in a space coupe, and I was like, okay, I believe you. I believe everything you're saying.
Okay. Damn,
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
If you are not listening to Hate Me Too, you're doing yourself a massive disservice.
He speaks no wrong.
My number 20 is Plucking a Cherry from the Void by Seal Believe, who's an up-and-coming PC Music-esque artist who somehow I missed when this came out. Even though there's a song with her on that A.G. Cook album, and I just never followed up on it. But
Cook album.
the biggin,
The big boy.
yeah.
It's so fucking long.
But I mean, when I listened to it, I was very surprised because there are obvious cues and cliches when it comes to this kind of music, and this does not fall into any of that. There's some like very fast tempo house bangers. There's some like slow ethereal shit, and her voice, like it's a white woman with a beautiful high pitched voice. It's perfect for that kind of music. So it's just good. It's just solid all the way through.
What's the name of it again?
Plucking a Cherry from the Void.
Okay, sick.
What a title.
All right. I'm sorry about this one, but my number 19 is Lil Boat 3. Lil Yachty.
Don't be
Sorry.
sorry.
I'm surprised it's that low.
No,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought this would be higher.
Pardon me.
I mean, there's a few duds in the track list, but the amount of time I put into listening to this album, I could not include it.
name the
Just
dud.
banger after banger. There's like 19 songs. I can't name them off the top of my head. But Pardon Me, TD, Split, Whole Time, Demon Time. Need I say more?
Black Jesus. I mean,
Okay.
Come on.
Excellent ass song. That's ridiculous.
in
There's
words
no
like
reason.
he turned them to Reese's Pieces. Might be the most pathetic thing I've ever heard.
And now he's on the Reese's box.
He
That's
is.
incredible.
That's I gotta get me one.
I got to add it to my Travis one over there.
Manifested.
My number 19. I'm assuming we're including EPs. If not, I'm kind of in trouble. But
Of course we are.
for number 19, I have Last Year Was Weird Volume 2 by however you pronounce her name.
Let's go.
Whatever it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
was sleeping on that. Listened to it once and I was like, that's fucking sick. Never touched it again. I forgot how awesome Awake is. That's one of the best songs from this year, period. Shook is an amazing single, and Grasshopper is fucking fire. And that's like, what, 3 out of 8 of the songs right there? Like that 3-track run right there is one of the best 3-track runs on any album, period, this year. Yeah, fucking sick EP. If any of you haven't heard it, you need to get on it.
Right.
Big facts. My number 19 is 1988 by Knowledge. It's another Knowledge album. Everyone knows exactly what it's gonna sound like, but it's still so fucking tasty, buttery, smooth. And yeah, this was one of those ones that, like, one of the first albums that I heard this year that I was like, okay, 2020, they can still do it this year. Music can still happen.
Really?
So, yeah, love this album.
Don't Be Afraid. One of the best songs this year.
My number 19 is Streams of Thought, Volume 3 by Black Thought. Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I thought this was going to be a little higher for me, but like, I really, really like what he's doing. I don't think I've ever listened to like an entire Black Thought project in full before this one. And this man just like, man, I just don't. Good Morning is, if somebody said it was Song of the Year, could I be mad? No,
Good
I
morning.
couldn't.
Good morning.
But yeah, I don't know, just like it's Black Thought, so I mean like the lyrics are always gonna be on point, but the features here are also just like really ridiculous. He features Portugal the Man like 3 or 4 times, and like every single time it's excellent. And the production has like this like really weird like pull between like just like modern Atlanta hip hop, but also just like I don't know, just like very solid like mid 2000s beats, and it just works. It really works. Ghetto Boys and Girls, fuck. No, it's a really good album. It's my 19.
Hey.
My 19 is 2017-2019 by Against All Logic. An album that when it came out I quite messed with, and then the rest of the year happened and I completely forgot about it. And then Brendan and I were talking about it recently and I went back to it. We got 9 songs and we got 9 bangers here. I might like this album more than the previous one, which if you go to the 2018 top albums, it makes an appearance there. But nothing more to say other than it sounds like an evolution of the sound. It sounds more out there without being gimmicky. It gets a bit more harsh without being abrasive. It's good. It's quality.
Hell yeah.
You said what you had to say.
All right, how we feeling, Brad?
All right, number 18. I got Miles by Blue in Exile, which honestly would be higher if I had some more time with it. But it's an hour and a half long. It's a lot to dig through, but I like what I hear. That's my number 18.
I feel like the deeper we go into this, the more L's I'm going to realize I took, and not having enough time to listen to everything. But
Hell yeah.
number 18, you guys might be pissed at me. I don't know. I'm not going to say much about it because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that are said. But number 18, I have Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple. That is honestly, it's not to a fault that it's this far. It's just how much I really like the rest of these albums. But I'll leave it at that because you guys are going to have a lot to say.
Oh, I'm up again. All right. Number 18 is Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. This album is so just one of those ones, throw on at any time. It always feels good. It goes down easy. And one of the greats from this year.
Goated. Kyoto, one of the best singles.
Crazy. The depression music. My number 18 is Nectar by Joji. I really like Joji. I like
The eyebrows.
like
The chat.
yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad.
I think like I have a really big issue with Joji because I feel like I like him in concept as an artist more than like the things that he's actually put out. Like I think that Ballads One, which is what was that? That was like the very end of 2018, right? Like I really like enjoyed that, but there were so many duds, and he had a Trippie Redd feature, so I could not be with it, unfortunately. But I think that in the years since that album, he's kind of refined his style, and I don't think that this album is perfect, obviously, since it's so fucking low. But I think that a lot of the best songs make up for a lot of the dead weight on the album. I think Mr. Hollywood is a fucking fantastic song. I think Pretty Boy and Nitrous and what is it? All of the singles that he had leading up to it, I think showcased like a lot more like growth. I still think that Sanctuary and like Run are like two like very, very like important songs that kind of just like show what Joji can do. And I'm hoping for more of that on the next project. But I feel like we got like a pretty good taste of like what he can do when he like ups the ante. And I really liked a lot of what he gave to us on that. And yeah, and it's got a Kenny B on here, so that's all that matters.
Speaker
There are
Truth,
Clams beat too.
I don't know if it was on this album. I know he definitely had one on Ballads.
What if he drops
Seems
like a
like a-
Kenny Beats ad lib in the Filthy Frank voice?
Oh,
Would that
no.
go off?
Christ.
I don't know if it would. I'd have to reevaluate a lot.
No, I feel like Filthy Frank should be like his dead name. I feel like we don't even talk about that anymore.
Is dead.
No,
That's not even
nobody
real.
talks about that.
And they shouldn't.
I can't forget.
Remember Leafy? Leafy, guys?
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
My number 18 speaks less about the album and more about my listening habits this year. It's Song Machine Volume 1 by Gorillaz.
Oh, yeah.
Great album. That's a great album. I can't tell you things wrong with that album. It's just I didn't listen to it enough. It's a long fucking album, and there was just a lot more that caught my attention and time. That being said, there's a lot of great cuts on here. I'm a Humans defender, and I would still there's like fucking something on my face. I'm a Humans defender, and I would still call this like what Humans should have been. This seems like the concept of Humans like elevated and brought to its peak. Like just classic Gorillaz. I get the feeling whenever the project is over, this is going to be one of those albums that people talk about a lot after the like Plastic Beach, Circle Jerk.
I've listened to it once. That's an L that I took. That's an L that I'm
No,
not.
it's not. No, it's not.
Stop.
You
Don't do this.
one listen is enough.
Don't do this.
Well, it's
Oh. Okay, hold on. Okay, well, what we're gonna
you're gonna chill.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna we're gonna keep going. We're gonna ignore
Yeah,
what you
right
just
now.
said.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
let's bust through the rest of these. Like let's just roll through the rest of the 11 through 20 before we hear some blasphemy from Sam.
All right, number 17. I wish it were higher. I just love the other albums more. But how I'm feeling now, Charlie XCX.
Fair enough.
I don't
That's
really need to
honestly
say
where-
much because I already know it's on at least 2 or 3 of you's list. So
Yeah, that's like about where I would expect it to be for you anyway. Okay,
Piece of shit.
yeah, fuck you, dude.
my 17 is from what might be my favorite band of all time. Number 17 is Visions of Bodies Being Burned. There's gonna be a lot more said about that, so I'll leave it at that.
Number 17 for me, an album I wish I had more time with, but it came out very recently, Songs of Sage, Post Panic by Navy Blue. It's incredible, but I haven't had enough lived time with it, and it feels like an album that, you connect with over time. So due to ride, but awesome as it is right now.
I didn't even get to listen to that one. I'm really upset.
Under my radar right now.
Mm.
All right, how are we feeling, Jacob?
Oh shit. Okay, my next one, my number 17 is Liam Havis, self-titled, which is just another casualty. I'm almost certain that if I had more time to listen to this, that it would be top 10. But I just, did not. But just regardless, like Weird Fishes, like she's the only person that could cover this and have that fucking explosive ending and have that be that incredible. And again, if somebody were to say, "Please don't make me cry," song of the year, couldn't be mad, couldn't argue with them. I didn't know about her before this album, and I think that she's like, I really love her voice. I think that she's like, she has a lot of like Willow Smith, but I feel like more mainstream and just like a lot like more like fully formed when it comes to that. And like when it comes to song structure, I don't know. She knows what the fuck she's doing. It's a really good album. You just like put that on, and I'm just like, yeah, I could cry right now. Good
Mhm.
album. So.
Y'all stay exposing me. It's fine.
My 17 is the Before EP by James Blake.
Wow.
Yes.
I-
yes,
Oh.
sir.
Okay.
I like James Blake, right? I've always liked him, but this was the first time where it really just it clicked with me, where I was like, wow, this is really fucking good. Out of 4 songs, we have like 3 tied for like being the best song on the EP, and we have Summer now, which is still a good song. He was just James dropping little nuggets of music this year.
I want him to scream before for 20 minutes straight and make that an EP.
Yeah, you just made me realize that I forgot to even like
Yeah.
consider that.
No, you didn't.
I
Yeah.
forgot to even
about
think
that.
No, you
about
didn't.
that.
Did you
one.
really?
I
Fuck.
fucking love that EP, but I guess I have to say honorable mention for now.
Fucked up.
All right, Brady.
All right, my number 16, Run the Jewels 4, Run the Jewels.
Wow.
Well,
Wow. Okay.
They there's hardly anything to say about Run the Jewels that hasn't been said before. It's Run the Jewels. They don't miss. They're immune to missing. That's it.
Wow. Dude, if I would have honestly guessed that would have been in your top 10.
You
Oh.
thought.
Yeah, I fucked up. All right, my number 16, by far the biggest drop of any album in the making of this list. Hurts to say, definitely thought it was going to be top 10 for most of the year. My number 16 is it selfish if we talk about me again, Casey Hill.
I did expect that to be higher for you.
Yeah,
Wow,
fantastic
that's pretty
record,
huge.
honestly. A lot of earworms. Yeah, it's just 15 albums that I think are better than it right now, but it hurts.
Fair enough. Number 16 for me is Vision Bodies being burned by Clipping. Back. Is there tonight?
There he goes. All right, Sam, anything that you said the last 10, well, now we're counting 15 seconds. Run it back.
As you were saying clipping, you clipped.
I clipped the fuck out. Yeah, it might ass cheeks, but
For all of the
Run it back.
listeners, 4 of us are in Georgia, and 1 of us is in another country known as Tampa, Florida.
would be me.
So, yeah.
Back to number 16, Visions of Bodies Being Burned by Clipping. They're back in business. They're back with the horror shit. And I mean, what's that one song? Eaten Alive. That song is genuinely scary. Like, I feel creeped out listening to it. Dang, rattling. There's too much rattling. It's too scary.
I don't know if anyone could ever drop 2 really, really awesome horror albums in back-to-back years other than Clipping. I didn't even know they were capable of that.
Yeah, have them both be excellent. My number, which is what, 16?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, my number 16 is Ungodly Hour by Chloe and Halle. When this first came out, I really thought this was about to be a lot higher, but there's just, as you said, about 15 more albums that I like a lot more. But yeah, no, again, never heard of these girls before. Like, I had seen like Beyonce like promoted them before, and I was like, okay, all right, cool, whatever, Beyonce. And then this album, my little brother actually like really fucking liked to do it, and I was like, okay, I guess. And then like after like I heard that, I like saw it was produced by Scott Storch, and I was like, okay. And so like I listened to the entire album after that, and they're just like, again, like really good at what they do. Like, I've heard a lot of people comparing like Beyonce and like, oh, it's Beyonce Jr. And I don't know. I think that this is like really unique outside of that. There's a lot of like really interesting vocal runs on songs like, what is it? Royal and like Wonder What She Thinks of Me, which really, really just like really, really talented writers. And they also do a lot of production themselves, and the production on the album is actually like really sweet. And there's just like some certified hits. Forgive Me, Baby Girl, Tipsy. Just like, yeah, you could run it like back to back, and it's just like all heaters. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you could say any song on that album and tell me it's the catchiest song of all time, and I'd agree with you.
You'd be right.
Mm-hmm.
Good ass album.
All right, James.
All right. My number 16 is the Ice Peak album. It's in Russian, so I can't say it.
Oh my god.
But it's just, it's one of those things. It's one of those things for me where I can't explain why it grabbed me the way that it did, especially when I'm getting zero lyrical feedback, save for Zillakami on that one song, which is fucking awesome.
Mama.
But the production, especially on this album, is fucking nutty. I've never heard anything like it. I've never heard anything like Ice Peak. Like, I know the subgenre is defined as witch house, but to me they stand out even within that from the small amount I've heard of it. But it's a really just nutso album that to me is all over the place, which is funny because Fantano goddamn shit on it and called it one note. But there are cuts on here that straight up sounds like Russian FKA Twigs to fucking Terrorist, which is the Zillakami song. Then we have like weird ethereal ass interludes that make me feel like I'm floating in purgatory. It's a good one, and I gotta shout out Tommy Cash for putting me on that.
Let's fucking go. I feel terrible because I completely forgot about that album until right this very second.
Did you like it?
I love that. Well,
Wait, really?
honestly, to be perfectly honest, it probably would have ended up being an honorable mention, but I'm just disappointed that I didn't even have it in consideration. Brad?
Number 15, I got I Disagree by Poppy. Never would have thought Poppy would come through with anything cool in her life, but she did.
What does that mean?
I mean, like, if we go back to her YouTube videos, it's kind of fucking lame.
We don't have
But
to talk about it.
or even like her early music, I thought was pretty generic.
Mm.
And now here we are. She's fusing metal and pop in a way that I actually like. Didn't expect it.
Last concert of this year. Real ones know.
That's crazy.
Man.
That's insane.
That's tough. All right. My number 15. Oh, wow. My number 15 literally would not have even sniffed the light of day if not for the influence that I have from my friends. My number 15 is A Written Testimony by Jay Electronica.
There it is.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome re-listen, but like I said, a lot of influence from my friends. I'm gonna wait to blabber my mouth about that one.
Just real quick, what is your revised take on Flux Capacitor?
Oh, see, what's so funny is that I'm still very steadfast and that chorus is goddamn awful. But literally every second of that song, other than that chorus, is like my favorite song on that. Well, second favorite song on that album. Down to the like trappish outro that it has. Like everything about that song is fucking awesome except for that chorus.
That's so crazy. So why? Anti is good.
All right, you got it, Sam.
Number 15, From King to a God by Conway. This album was much higher on my list when it came out, but I've just heard better stuff, but it's still amazing. Conway, just, there's something about like his hand when he's writing lyrics that like makes it the best lyric possible with that like joke that he's trying to tell. And it's, I'm happy for him. I'm happy he has that gift because it's a pleasure listening to his music.
Oh man. Yeah. There's going to be some words about Conway later, I will say.
Mm-hmm. The CD Lambs line, so necessary.
Literally,
Everyone needs the CD Lambs line.
No, you got to say it, my bad.
No, I mean, that's it. Just he did the CD Lambs rhyme right.
Literally, there's like 20 like sports adjacent bars on there that are objectively fucking awesome. Like, all my shooters got the ultimate green light.
Oh,
Mooney. I can't. I'm gonna bite my tongue. I can't do this right now. You got it.
All right. Yeah. No. Jamie took mine. My number 15 is also the Ice Peak album.
That Jamie Jacob connection.
It's beautiful. No, like Jamie actually showed me this. I'm like, I remember this. It sucks because like I obviously can't pronounce the fucking title or almost any of the tracks to Terrace with Zillakami, which is an excellent song. But Jamie like was like, hey, you have to listen to this. And this was like right when like quarantine had like hit. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I went in my car and like smoked. And like when I tell you that I was assaulted by that song, like, oh my fucking God. The production on this shit is just like so fucking crazy. And just like, I don't know, the chemistry that they have, like, it's just really strange because again, like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. Like, literally not a word. But like the production and just like their energy on the mic is just like really, really just like aggressive and like the industrial kind of like how it intersects with like hip hop and even just like it almost sounds operatic at some points. Like again, there's like parts on Terrace that don't even sound like trap or hip hop, but it's just like taking a whole bunch of like dissonant styles and like putting them together and something that's just like really, really fucking hard. And it's a good ass album.
Yeah, I will say, like, you saying that it came out at the start of quarantine jogs all of the memories and makes so much sense, but just time hasn't been real this year, so that feels like a lifetime ago. But that definitely was this year.
Yeah, that
all dog.
For me, I listened to it at like April, because if I go back to my April playlist, there's like 5 Ice Cube songs in there, and April 2020 will forever be the month of Mr. Robot for me.
Era.
My 15 is RTJ4. Again,
Let's go.
not that much to say because I know more will be said later, other than echoing Brendan's sentiments that they just don't miss. They cannot miss if they wanted to.
All right, so we busted out 40, we started a little bit after 9, so it was like 35 minutes for the first 5. So I think we should kind of try to speed run the 11 through 15.
Number 14, I have Is It Selfish If We Talk About Me Again by Casey Hill.
Makes sense.
Her voice, all I gotta say.
It's a good pickup this year, finding her. Very easy on the ears. Shout out Jared. All right, my 14 is Ungodly Hour, Chloe X Halle. But once again, no more will be said, so I'll save it.
My number 14 is Purple Moonlight Pages by Rap Ferreira, aka Milo. Just floating on every song with the biggest words anyone's ever heard. And
Do you know what he's talking about?
fuck no, are you kidding me? It's like he's speaking another language. It's like the I Speak album. I'm just like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that shit is good. Yeah.
Jesus, man. Another L that I took. Listened to that a long time ago. Really liked it.
Me too.
Very tough.
My number 14 is Song Machine Season 1, Gorillaz. Again, I wish I had more time to listen to this one, but it's just so fucking long, especially with the deluxe tracks. But like what Jamie was saying, like, yeah, it's kind of what Humans was supposed to be. I'm not a Humans defender at all. But, like, I definitely saw, like, on tracks, like, there were definitely, like, moments on, like, Humans with, like Ascension with Vince Staples, where I'm just like, I see where this could have gone. And I feel like that's just this album. He has a song with fucking Black and Elton John. I mean, I don't have to say anything else. That's crazy. That's Elaine. Song of the year. And it's fucking good.
That song's awesome. My 14 is Kick One by Arca. I'm not saying that this is like, I want to call it the most Arca album, but I would call it like the most Arca album for who Arca is as a person right now. I love all the features and shit on this album. I love the production, how it's less experimental and more quote unquote accessible while still being very out there. And I think it's the perfect combination. And I'd like their trajectory.
Hell yeah.
Number 13. I don't know how to defend myself on this one, but Whole Lotta Red, Playboi Carti.
Oh,
Oh, good.
Go.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm glad you did it.
Take your shirt off right now.
Brendan, I'm so happy that you put it there because I was seriously considering it, but I didn't think it was fair.
Dude, holy shit. I can't stop listening. I cannot stop listening.
Dude, where did this come from? What do you mean?
Dude, I've listened to it
He's right.
so much.
He's right.
It's so fucking
Right, you
good.
should say it. Oh, man.
It hits. I don't know what else to say.
Sky is Song of the Year, you're not wrong.
I've never felt like a minority until this moment right here. What the fuck?
Go to the moon.
Okay. Y'all got it. It's fine. What number are we on? We're on 13. My number 13 is The New Abnormal by The Strokes. Just token. indie rock. Ben's got to get his little dose of indie rock every year. The Strokes are back, baby, and the very concise. I think it's like 45 minutes or something like that, which is a decent length for an album, but it was only 9 songs, so it wasn't a lot of room to miss. But they didn't. I mean, Bad Decisions is a great single. What's the one song? The Brooklyn Bridge song. That one's great. Ode to the New York Mets. Just good indie rock. Just nice indie rock.
I have things to say about that album, but I'll save it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13 is an album I wish I could put higher, but I just can't yet. But it's still incredible. It's Untitled in parentheses Rise by Salt. It's just like revolutionary music with so much, like the experimentation in the music feeds into the revolutionary themes of the lyrics and stuff. It's just, it's amazing.
What genre?
I don't know how to describe it with genres, but it's like,
what bands would you associate with them?
Primal Scream is a band that I would associate with them. If y'all are familiar, but it's so like it's like Primal Scream meets Stevie Wonder is what I would say.
Not what I thought I was going.
Primal Scream. I feel like the name is scaring you guys. It's not a screaming band. They don't do a lot of screaming in Primal Scream, believe it or not. But yeah, definitely listen to this album though. It's fucking incredible. So necessary.
Might put us on. We might look back at this and say, how silly were we?
I'm gonna look back at this whole list and be really upset. I already know.
Oh yeah, no, tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be like, fuck, what was wrong with me?
I'm gonna close Zoom and I'm gonna be like, really? That's what I just said? All right.
My number 13, I won't say a lot because I know it's probably higher on some other people's lists, but Visions of Bodies Being Burned by Clipping. Yeah, I won't lie, I was definitely fucking asleep when it first dropped. I was like, this is cool. It's definitely just B-sides from the album last year. But then I listened to it and just like, again, what the fuck was wrong with me? Just like the intro alone, the fucking intro alone, like, God, just like the V's verse in the last 50 seconds is just like an explosive way to start the shit off. You have shit like Say the Name with a fucking Ghetto Boy sample, which I didn't even realize until I was like looking through the samples. And then like you have shit that just shouldn't work, like She Bad, but like it's just like a great song. And then again, the shit is fucking horrifying. Just like I think it's even scarier than last year's. And there's not anything quite as like fucking insane as like when I heard Run Your Life for the first time. But like there's still like a whole bunch of like really, really solid tracks, and like the like runs with like a bunch of conceptual stuff a lot more on this one, and I really liked it. But that's all I'll say on that one because I know it's gonna pop up later.
Mm-hmm.
My 13 this year was Burden of Proof by The Butcher. I like Griselda stuff, right? But this was the first Griselda anything that came out that I can actually say I loved. And that comes from Benny being a close second out of the three of them in terms of penmanship. And also, the more important thing to me is what made it stand out. Hit Boy fucking popped off with the production on this album. Every beat is insane. Every beat is like genuinely incredible to me. And when I found out that one song with Lil Wayne and Big Sean was like a Discard It, Watch the Throne beat, made total sense. He's in its like prime Hit Boy bag on this album.
He went crazy this year. He really had a comeback.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a few things to say about Mr. Hit Boy in a little bit.
I mean, I know he produced everybody's number one. Yeah, I'm talking about Detroit too.
Stop talking about Detroit too. Shouldn't even be mentioned in this podcast.
Jacob, you're so brave for bringing it up.
Oh man.
He's probably gonna have it in his list later.
Dude, it's top 5. I don't know.
Y'all are really hurting his friends. He's got a burner list just in case we like responded weird.
Oh.
All right, number 12, Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs, An Alchemist. I have to leave it there. I already know people are gonna say more.
Need I say more? My number 12 is Pray for Paris, West Side Gun. Definitely know other people have stuff to say about that. Let's continue.
Number 12, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, Fiona Apple. I think it's definitely her worst album that she's ever released, but it's still number 12 on this list, which just goes to show you why she's the motherfucking GOAT.
I was gonna say, what a horrid way to compliment her.
Ugh. My number 12 is also Pray for Paris by West Side Gun. So again, people definitely gonna talk about that one. So West Side Gun go crazy. French Toast crazy. That's all I gotta say. French Toast so crazy.
I got some words to say about West Side for sure.
French Toast so crazy.
My number 12 is How I'm Feeling Now, the Charlie victory lap of an album. Nothing more to say.
Dude, my jaw is on the floor right now, Jamie.
Yeah, I really expected that to be a lot higher.
I thought I knew you. Okay.
All right, number 11. I got Visions of Bodies Being Burned, Clipping.
Is that the last? Has
I haven't said it.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh.
I want to echo what you said, Jacob. And I feel like this applies to all of Clipping's music. It shouldn't work, but it does. I'm just always amazed the things they pull off. I don't get it.
The thing that I think always has me shook about Clipping is that no matter what it is, literally no matter how I feel about it, whether I listen to it the first time, I'm like, this is amazing. Or I listen to it the first time, I'm like, it's kind of a dud for Clipping. It always grows on me. I always come back to it and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the stupid one. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, Clipping doesn't miss. What are you talking about, Ben? Yeah.
They haven't.
Dude, Looking Like Me, best beat of the century, possibly.
If Enlacing didn't exist, I'd agree. But
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so much good shit on here. What number? We're on 11 now?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my number 11 is Circles by Mac Miller.
let's go.
Yeah. Just we all know we love it. Feels cuddly and warm, but in the most somber way. Just an amazing record. One of my favorite Mac albums, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now.
Rest in peace to the god.
Truly.
My number 11 is Ungodly Hour by Chloe and Hale.
Yes,
Hal, I don't know how to pronounce
Hallie.
it. One of two buzzer beaters on this list. This album I listened to for the first time today, and God,
Wow.
it was just so fucking good. Like I kept like back to backing my favorite songs on this album with others on the list, and I was like, it keeps beating them. It doesn't make sense. And, oh yeah, just every beat, every vocal line, most of the lyrics are perfectly written. It's an amazing album. Lives up to the hype for sure.
This man is spitting.
Proud of you,
My
Sam.
number, what is this, 11?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. Number 11 is RTJ4. It's from the Jewels. I mean, there's not really that much to say. Like, I think Walking in the Snow is obviously one of the most poignant songs that like came out at like the perfect time, I think.
Walking in the slush.
Yeah.
Just got some walking and stuff.
Yeah. Every feature here is fucking ridiculous. Be it DJ Premier or 2 Chainz, which dog, I'll buy a hot dog stand if I'm trying to be frank. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, no, Pharrell Williams with an incredible hook that like isn't corny. And then like that outro I think is like maybe like my favorite outro of the year just because it just like it sets the table for just like so much. And yeah, I don't know. For them, like I don't know, it seems like again like one of those things where it's like it shouldn't work. Like I feel like at this point in their career, like it should feel like the gears are getting like rusty or like they should be like losing their sauce, but like they just keep finding like different ways to like switch it up, and it's never like
I'll see you with
corny.
Still
And
water.
I think what is that?
Still water whipping for sure.
No, just like yeah, no, for just no reason. And like yeah, I don't know. It keeps working. I'm sure at some point the well will run dry, but the fact that like 10 years on, like it still hasn't, I think is ridiculous. Really, really good album. LP, producer of the year.
Shout out RTJ.
Everyone talks about Killer Mike's verse on Walking in the Snow because it did come at a perfect time and it hits emotionally harder. But I like LP's more because I'm a racist. My number 11 was 1,000 Gex in the Tree of Clothes.
What was that, James?
What? Oh, 1,000 Gex in the Tree of Clothes. It's a remix album, but it feels like an entirely new thing, especially because it came with 2 new Gex songs, including Toothless, which is, sorry, Money Machine, the new goated Gex song, truly. I mean, I can't really say much of anything other than it's the songs that we all know and love in a new way that doesn't sound boring or like a bad rehash. I'd say that there's one mid remix on here, which is the non-Fall Out Boy remix of Hand Crush. And even then, it's not bad. The best remix, though, is Danielle Harl hardcore remix of Get To You. That's I've never heard energy in a fucking song like that.
Really? That's one you
Not
think
sleep.
That's one of my least favorites on the album.
Me too.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't get it. Dude, when
That shit was
oh my
ass.
god, when the drums hit and they just do.
Dude, my favorite remix on there, other than like the ringtone, the goated one, is probably like
Get.
Well, okay,
It's
but
crazy.
yeah, I'm
Underrated.
thinking in my head. I should have specified this, like I guess vocal remixes. I guess the best way to just straight up remixes of the song. That's a long way of saying the Umar remix of, is it Ringtone? Is that the
Yeah,
one
that's
that-
ringtone.
That's
I
that
love
Amazing.
best
The
straight.
guitar at the end of that
Umar
song
is
hits
fucking-
so good.
The fact that he's sampling like literally the iPhone ringtone like in the back. What? Umar's the best producer this year.
Talented as fuck.
Umar was fucking insane. Like, man,
And he's our age.
think about it every day. It haunts me.
So wait, are we officially in the top 10 now?
Tizzle.
Uh-oh.
Oh
Shit.
man.
How we're feeling? We're in the triple T top
Okay.
10 territory.
All right.
Scary.
Number 10. This came in as of like a few days ago. 2017 to 2019 by Against All Logic.
Sir.
Wow. Okay,
Yes,
you
sir.
listen.
Fucking bangs. I put it on in the car. I had listened to it. It came out on my birthday, actually, in February. And I hadn't listened to it since. And so I was just driving home, had like an hour and a half drive, bobbing my head every song. Every fucking song.
Okay. My first entry into the top 10, number 10, is Folklore by Taylor Swift. I don't know if this is going to touch any of y'all's lists.
Nope.
Actually really intriguing. This shit came out of nowhere. I am a former Swiftie as like a 12-year-old boy, listening to YouTube to MP3 back to December, like on bus rides to school in like 6th grade. Red, first album that I ever listened to in its entirety. And then she started to suck for a while. And so then I stopped paying attention to her, stopped caring. And then they said indie Taylor Swift, and my interest was piqued. And I was not disappointed. I think that this shit is awesome, honestly. I mean, like, it shocked me twice, because it shocked me the first time with how much I liked it. And then it shocked me again with how much I like fell in love with it, how much I kept coming back to it, how many of those earworm tracks just like permeated in my dome. Like, it starts off great with The One, an amazing track. I mean, it's the Jack Antonoff effect. I mean, you really can't go wrong. Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner of The National are all over this record. So she was just, it was a win from the start. I just think there's plenty of amazing songs on here. I mean, The One is one of my favorites. August is amazing. Cardigan, Exile with Bon Iver, like so many great memorable cuts on there. Yeah, I don't know, just great lyrics, so catchy. Taylor sounds as sharp as ever on there, and I just love it. I'm on my indie bullshit.
I wish I gave it more. I wish I gave this and the one she just dropped like more time. I've only listened to them like once or twice, but like
Evermore to me felt like folklore B-sides.
mm,
But Brendan
Mm.
said he liked Evermore better, which surprised me.
They're both good though.
interesting.
They're like pretty close to me.
I don't know. I just like for Evermore, I put one on my like 2020 playlist, but just I just simply think that the really good songs on Folklore are just simply better. So here we are.
Here we are, my number 10 pick, Mount Marcy by Rock Marciano. The man is a god.
Understandable.
It's just,
To put it simply,
I have to echo what Beezy from Dead End Hip Hop said in their review, where he was like, I just sit and listen to his lyrics and I'm just smiling because they're so clever. They're so funny. Like, I mean, COVID Cough, Spirit Cookin', Wicked Days are three of the best rap songs of the year. Wicked Days is like, that song, how does that song even exist?
COVID
It's terrifying.
COVID Cough is
Andre
dope.
song.
that's insane.
Schoolboy, he just,
Schoolboy is one of the greatest.
It's an incredible album. It's incredible that after like 10 years, Rock can still put out another album that feels like he's doing a whole new thing, but still staying true to himself. Because I think this is his most experimental album, like by far. And I love this route that he's going on. I hope he keeps going down it.
I don't give Rock Marciano his due diligence, but every song I've heard from him, I've never disliked
I don't
one.
know.
I've
They're
never
all
had a
good.
problem.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. He was
I
dope
need to
on
take a
the
deeper
Prepared.
dive. We are in the top 10. And my number 10 is Last Year Was Weird, Volume 2 by TK Meza.
Tell 'em.
Again, this is very, very recent. Like, I heard Awake and I was like, this is the best song ever made, and then just didn't listen the rest of the album until like later. And then I don't know, like earlier this month, like it just came on shuffle, and like I forgot that it has so many dissonant sounds. Like Awake doesn't really sound like that much else on the album, but I think that kind of like willingness to like play with different sounds like really like drew me in. And like I don't know, from like My Flowers alone, it's like
Mhm.
you just have to like buckle up. It's just such a good song. And
You
then
Sad
everything
is
else,
one of the catchiest songs ever.
that is fucking ridiculous. And then even like what I think is like probably like PB Jam, which I think is probably like the weakest thing on here, is still like a ridiculously like good song.
I
And then
agree. Wow.
yeah, exactly. And then Don't Call Again. It's just like again, these are all really fucking good songs. I didn't know who TK was before this, but like I like started like looking into her after, and she's like a really good rapper, and like she just like again, like with everybody on this list, knows what the fuck she's doing. And I think that like the willingness to play with different styles, I think is what kept me coming back, because if like you're in a mood and you want to listen to a banger, you can just turn on Awake, but then like you can listen to You Sad or My Flowers, and it's just like, I don't know, this album, it hit for me.
She can simply just rap her ass off.
She can do anything
Yeah.
she wants.
Grasshopper's hard as fuck.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
My number 10 is After Hours by The Weeknd.
Never
Did
get.
not expect this shit to be in there, because I listened to it for like about 2 days, 3 days when it came out. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I know this is good, but for whatever reason, I it's just not sitting with me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it some time and I'll come back to it. And I said that for the entire year. And then 2-3 weeks ago, I was like, all right, I gotta re-listen to this when I'm making my list. When I say every song hit, every single one hit, it's insane. One of Tricks Point Never and The Weeknd coming together is something I would have never like ever predicted, but I'm so glad that it happened, because One of Tricks is such a good ass producer, and when you have him like going towards more of like, I don't want to use the word again, accessible, but like more of like a ear friendly sound,
Hmm.
it works very well. And then you have like however many other producers on each individual song, with The Weeknd's beautiful voice on top of everything. If I had to like name some favorite songs here, I would say Too Late is awesome. Hardest to Love was the first song that I really liked because it reminds me of it. Okay, it reminds me of a song from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I know is not on purpose at all. If I went up to The Weeknd and said those words to him, he would beat me with a sock full of cocaine. But I still love it regardless. I love it for that reason. Snow Child is great. The futuristic sex line is objectively amazing.
Okay,
Heartless, no one's talking about. Faith, no one's talking about. It's just it's all good. I would not think I would become a Weeknd stan, and yet here I am. Such a good album.
I think the Safdie brothers legitimately saved him.
Mhm.
They were like, we're gonna show you this movie. It's called After Hours by Martin Scorsese. And make good music again after this. And The Weeknd was like, all right, cool, I got this. And they did that, and that's what happened. And so thank you, Safdie brothers.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, I legitimately thought I would never hear like another good Weeknd album. Here we
Really?
are. I mean, that man was making straight dookie.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of my like Weeknd knowledge is weird. It's like I won't say I'm super familiar with his early stuff, but I listened to it when it came out, liked it, and then came back to it during quarantine. And I was like, oh, I still really fuck with this, like House of Balloons, like just trilogy. And then I kind of fell off. Like this is just me being a bad music listener. I've still never heard Starboy or Beauty Behind the Madness. But then After Hours came, and literally the first song, when I heard the beat switch or whatever you want to call it on Alone Again, the first song, I was like, all right, we're here. This is what's happening. All right, Brad.
All right. Number 9, I have Gray by Moses Sumney. And
Polly. Damn, bro.
I don't
That
listen
song
to
ruined
this.
my life.
In what way? Please elaborate.
Every single way. Are you dancing with me? Or are you just dancing? Like that
Stop.
literally just like the earth opened up and I fell back into everything.
Not only is his voice so fucking weird and incredible, and the production's incredible, the lyrics are also incredible.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
like
talk about
I
Two
really
Dogs.
Two
No,
Dogs is
no.
incredible.
Stop.
I just love
No,
the
I
way
can't
like
try
these
it now.
songs just like they start slow and they build into this fucking crazy thing.
It's like a sonic
And-
cathedral.
Mm-hmm. But I don't listen to it a lot because I feel like it's a certain kind of vibe I need to be into. But
Depression.
every time I do, but it's just a gorgeous album all the way through.
Shout out One Tricks Point Never again.
Yep.
Took a massive L because I've heard is it technically a double album? Don't really know.
Yeah.
Heard it all once. Think it's amazing. Was one of those ones that the length was too big for me to be able to get back to it in time. And it will pain me every single day that this podcast exists. All right. My number 9 is one that I don't think is going to be on any of y'all's lists. Mine is Song for Our Daughter by Laura Marling. I don't know if any of y'all listen to that, but just some chamber folk, not really indie. I mean, it's really more folk than anything, but it's nice. I have to be honest, never heard of her before this came out, but I'm not going to forget about her because holy shit. Probably the saddest album I heard this year, but definitely my favorite like singer-songwriter record. But yeah, no, the album, it just like, it's like this juxtaposition between like this like super simple instrumentation, and then just like these impressive lyrics. It's like, and they are also super simplistic at times, but like she just honestly, because I watched Fantano's review today when I was thinking about it, and he said something that I think sums it up perfectly, where she just gives you everything that you need and absolutely nothing more. And I think that's the best way to think about this album. Just her vocals are so soft, but I don't know, just like kind of folky in and of themselves. I don't know, it just works. Favorite songs are like Held Down and Strange Girl and Blow by Blow. Oh, and End of the Affair. It's just such a deeply sad album at times, but then also like there's like feminist empowerment overtones here and there. I don't know, man. It's just a really great album.
Yeah, I just hate women, so I'm probably never gonna listen to that one.
Like she said, just the way that she approaches songwriting is so smart. Like this is a quote from her. She's talking about her song Strange Girl, which is just about it's a hypothetical girl, but she says like, the girl in the song is an amalgamation of all my friends and I, and of all the things we've done. There's something sweet about watching someone you know very well make the same mistakes over and over again. You can't tell them what they need to know. They have to know it themselves. That's true of everyone, including myself. As for the lyrics about the angry brave girl, well, aren't we all like that? The fullness and roundness of my experience as a woman, the nuance and all the best and worst things about being a complicated little girl is not always portrayed in the way that I would portray it. And I think women will recognize something in this song. Simply, she's fucking next level at this. And I love her. I love this record. I think all of you should check it out. It's too, like the way that she describes, like she'll talk about the End of the Affair. It's a breakup song. Like, but she's talking about the man who's, you know, they're mutually leaving each other, but they say, where to write it out? Says, oh wait, actually, I wanted to shout out this lyric real quick. She said, "Knowing thunder gives away what thunder tries to hide." It's just, I don't know, man. She just has the most prophetic way of saying the simplest things, and I love it. Oh, here we go. Like, she says, "It took a while to land. He threw his head into his hands and said, 'This is just too much for man to hold.'" Just talking about their just a relationship being too much to handle, and the way that she describes that, I don't know. I feel like I'm there, and I love it. Just a fucking great record.
Man, about
Go
to have
off, sis.
anticipation for his number one.
Dude, I have actually like,
This man about to give a TED talk.
And got notes.
no, dude, I
Yeah,
love
you're
Over.
like, from an
Mm.
analytical level, you're gonna take the biggest fucking dookie on me, at least, because
yeah.
I have nothing of worth to say.
I'm literally I got like 2 sentences and I'm like, well, I should have written notes.
literally
Yeah.
one of my like favorite records. All I'm gonna do is just quote from it, and it's gonna speak for itself. But all right, Sam, what's your number 9?
Number 9 for me is Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist. Freddie
sir.
Gibbs he's in his prime, and I think he's gonna go down as one of the greats, unquestionably. And you know, this is just another jewel in the crown for him. Just that beat drop on 1985, just like it throws you into the vibe of the album and doesn't let up the whole time. And it's a perfect ride, perfect to throw on at any time. And you know, the man cannot miss.
Michael Jordan, 1985. Bitch, I travel with a cocaine circus. I can't, dude.
He doesn't miss.
Ridiculous. It's not fair. My
Crazy.
number 9. Go off. What? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, my number 9 is also Gray, by Moses Sumney.
Let's go.
Yeah, Brendan basically stole all my talking points, so I will simply quote.
I said like one thing.
Hey, after all these years, I'm still here, fingers outstretched, with your imprint in my bed, a pit so big I lay on the edge. Will love let me down again?
Crazy.
Yeah, no, just crying instantaneously.
Church.
It's just not fair. Like, for someone's voice to be like that beautiful, but to also just like have the music match and have like both parts just feel so just like poignant and important. I don't know. I haven't listened to this album like that much. I've played maybe like 7 or 8 times because it just takes like just sitting down and like reading the lyrics and like listening is just like a fucking painful experience. But like it's just like I was going back and just like listening to stuff that I listened to this year, and I was like, this has to be on here because it's just that incredible. It's just like a really high watermark, and like I'd be nervous if I was him because I don't know how I top this shit. But yeah, no, and I mean just like from the production, which again, shout out One Tricks Point Never. He's just going ridiculous for no reason, and yeah, I don't know, just one of the most like touching listens I think I've had this year.
Jacob, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you watch Euphoria?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Rue episode that came out?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, I understand.
Dude, good. Okay, for those who don't know, it's just like it's a bottle episode, and there's one part where they do like a little cut with. Do you remember which song it was off Gray?
I was looking it up. It's not
literally insert any
but...
song off Gray, and it fit perfectly, and they did it justice, and it was amazing, just beautiful. Everyone watch you.
Yeah, no. Everyone should.
9, number 9. Number 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 9 is It Selfish if we talk about me again? Before it came out, to me, Casey Hill was the girl on 90210, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talked about this album, which is crazy to me because, you know, she is known. She is like verified. Fantano didn't mention it. I didn't see any music blogs really mention it. This is like, in a traditional sense, the best pop album of the year to me. Francis and the Lights did, I think, all of the production on the album, and it's all incredible without sounding like samey or anything, but it still has this like very unique vibe of being like nostalgic almost. Like it's reminiscent of like 80s 90s shit, but in the most modern way. I don't know how else to explain it other than it doesn't sound like new and crispy, but at the same time it does. I know that doesn't mean anything, but you would just have to listen to know.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say my favorite tracks, please.
I was just gonna say that like she achieved something that I really appreciate that I don't think happens very often, where I feel like yes, music is like the reflection of a person a lot of the time, but like this just feels like I have like a piece of Casey that I can throw on and listen to whenever I want. Like it's like how I feel about Beware of the Dogs with Stella. Like I feel like that's just like a little nugget of her that I have in like sonic form. I think Casey did the same thing, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why it feels so bad that this album is so unappreciated, because I know it's not about quality at all. I know if the people heard this would like fucking like,
because she's independent,
numbers, but it just isn't, and it's a real shame.
That's so true.
I know.
She has like no backing.
It sucks, man.
About that.
But favorite songs to someone else is such a good way to start that album. Porsche is one of my favorite songs of the year. Unkind is Unkind. We don't even have to talk about it.
Okay.
6 and the Umru remix of 6.
Awesome.
Both awesome, yes.
And then Palladium. I mean, shit. It's just
you could name any song, and I'm here for
all
it.
you getting is nodding head in this chat right now.
Yeah, really.
All right, I got number 8. We Will Always Love You by the Avalanches.
Interesting.
I don't even know.
How to unpack that?
Avalanche's got 3 albums and 3 dubs. I'm just looking at the track list right now.
The only note.
But yeah, there was like what? How many singles? 7 singles leading up to this
Mhm.
album,
if not more.
and every single one, I was like, wow, this is great. And I mean, I fully expected a great album, and that's what I got. Avalanches are like in space on this album. Every song sounds like just a little distant fragmented memory with with so many features. MGMT, Leon Bridges, Cola Boy, who I fucking hate, somehow managed to pop off on this album.
Dude, Cola Boy is on there.
Oh yeah,
Cola Boy is on one of the best songs.
it is one of the best songs. Yeah,
Oh, wow. All right.
I'm gonna let Jamie introduce some more talking points.
All right. My number 8 is Ooh La La Ah Wee Wee. It's RTJ4. I mean, just easy. I think this has the best production of any Run the Jewels album. Like on Yankee and the Brave, one of the best beats this year, objectively. Goonies vs. E.T., amazing. Literally every single song from Yankee and the Brave to what is the 8th track? The Ground Below. Literally all of them are bangers, and all of them are fucking sick. I mean, that's just a quick 8-piece right there. And then that goes to Pulling the Pen, which, like, if someone were like, that's my favorite song on here, I wouldn't be mad at them. It doesn't resonate with me particularly like that, but I think it's fine. And then I love the outro. I literally have in my notes, in all caps, I buy a hot dog stand, just to be frank. Another little 4-piece that I liked was I don't remember what song it's on, but Killer Mike said, as a teen lacking, I would have ran me a Supreme racket. I would take these lame Supreme jackets until you rob a hype beast you ain't seen sadness. Clockwork Orange madness left the scene laughing. That's hard as fuck. That's so tough. And then Walking in the Snow, we already talked about how important that song is. And then Just is amazing. You bring Pharrell and Zach, and they do their thing. It's great. I mean, it's just a really great Run the Jewels album. I don't know where I would put it in the pantheon of the 4 albums at this point, but it's a fucking heater. That's all I got to say about it.
I'm glad you mentioned Goonies versus E.T. because that was my favorite song, and I feel like people are not talking about that one. But near the end of both their verses, when it goes into that like drum break and then they start rapping, I think both LP and Mike, when that drum beat starts, is them like doing the most perfect flow that they could do in that moment. It's so good.
They're so in sync at this point.
Oh yeah, this is definitely their most intertwined
Mhm.
album. Like I felt like they were almost unraveling on RTJ3, but this one I think they're tighter than ever. Pause.
It just always sounds like they robbed a bank, and then we as a listener, like, they're wearing like a GoPro just facing at them, and then they're just like ducking between like alleyways and like opening up a dumpster for the other one as the other one is like rapping and flying through it. Like, it's just too perfect. Like, man, I love Run the Jewels, bro. I always forget. I don't listen to them enough, and I go back and I'm like, oh, that's why they're awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I would say LP is one of maybe 2 rappers who has a classic in 3 different decades. Because he's got Pressure Plus from the 90s, Fantastic Damage from the 2000s, and pick your favorite from Run the Jewels. I'd say 2 is the classic, and the only other rapper I'd say has done that is Ghostface. So I think LP needs to be recognized as one of the greats.
Wait, you don't not Lil Wayne?
Good one.
Not today, bro.
Little Wayne.
Lil Wayne got classics in 3 decades. We got Funeral. We got.
I think. Well, first of all, I think we need the old head to stop talking, and then second of all,
Beat your ass! I swear to God.
I think this could be a whole nother podcast in and of itself. But the LP versus Killer Mike debate is always so interesting to me, and I don't know, man. LP keeps on just widening that slim margin just a little bit for me. I don't know, man. That man's a
You
great
say
rapper.
LP, you're racist.
So I chose white. What about it?
Number 8 for me is gonna be "Pray for Paris" by West Side Gun. I mean, just godly stuff. He's one of those rappers who, you know, puts out a lot of work. So when he puts out something that feels career defining, it means a lot for him. And, you know, we got George Bondo, we got Eurostep, the best flow of the year, unquestionably. And you know, West Side Gun, he's an art guy. He loves sort of, you know, presenting his work as like greater than just music. And I think he finally achieved something that's like past what anyone thought he could do on Le Joliba, I think is how you pronounce the final song, with a tap dancing verse. I mean, it floors me every time I listen to it. I get goosebumps over my entire body. That's it.
Dude, I love the aesthetic of this album. Like the just the bougiest of the bouge. Like it just sets up the braggadocio so well. Like to have the intro track to be the sample of an auction where someone is spending 400 million. That's crazy. And then, dude, 2 great Griselda posse cuts. Like 327 is amazing. Like,
I think the only miss is French Toast because Wale sucks big balls, and
Dude, people swear Wale is awesome. He sucks.
okay, he sucks usually. He's not bad on this song. He's fine.
No, I thought that was a good song.
He's awful on this song. Shut the fuck up. That sucks.
Leave that man live.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I hear Wale 9 times out of 10 in reference to sneakers and not his actual music. But I said earlier, Burden of Proof was the first Griselda thing I loved. Pray for Paris was the first Griselda thing I really liked. So I'm happy to see that it's getting love from the homies.
Definitely.
Big kisses to Pray for Paris.
I think it's definitely like his best release this year. I think it kind of went overboard.
I think it's his best release.
Period.
That's just not true.
Well,
Supreme Blind Hell and
Supreme Blind Hell is like second to me. But
but Fly God, Mr. T.
My number is 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I can't fucking count. My number 8 is Miles from an Interlude Called Life by Blue and Exile. He opens the song Miles Davis by saying, "I autographed my cash and called a cab. We on the map, back in New York City like a Dodger cap. Blue smooth like blue suede shoes. I told my homie improve. I'm Tim Allen with the tools. I built my booth made of jewels, left a hole in the speaker, stepped in the stew, no shoes, that got more soul than sneakers." And every fucking verse is like that.
That's
and
the whole album.
That's the entire fucking album. It's Blue and Exile, so you already knew the production was gonna be fucking incredible. But like, I've never seen somebody just like drop fucking quotable after quotable, but then he's just like talking about real shit, like on what's the song? Shit like Brightest Stars, even like Roots of Blue, or fucking African Dream is like fucking God. He says, "Ayo, I'm African, although I was born in Los Angeles. I gotta get a tat to represent where my family is. Get its black skin, black bones, black man, from the black planet, black sand, black land." It's just every single fucking like bar on this thing is like ridiculous. And like, I've only listened to like Below the Heavens like a couple times, and that's like obviously just like a fucking classic album. But like, I think that like when it came to this, like their approach was like a lot more like, I don't want to say laid back, but like they took their time with this one, and I feel like it wasn't like as much as like a big a deal. Like I feel like they weren't like super concerned with following up a classic, and there's just like this like ease to the album that's just like really, really like excellent. Like it's a really long listen, and like I haven't given it the time that it deserves. But like in like the like 4 or 5 like full listens that I gave it, it's just like completely ridiculous, and it's just like, I don't know. I think it might be a little too long, which is why it's like not higher. But like every verse on this thing is just fucking stupid. Like I just don't even. It's fucking ridiculous. That's it. He just went fucking stupid for no reason.
Have you guys checked out "Good to Be Home" by Blue?
No.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, that's the album Richie with the T is referencing on Yo when he says it's good to be home, bumping good to be home. That's the album he's talking about. And
Wow.
that
That's
album
crazy.
it's like a miracle that people don't consider it like one of the greatest West Coast albums of all time, because I think it's unquestionably one of the best. It's Blue doing the same sort of rapping stuff that he does, and definitely worth a listen. I think it's from 2014.
Jesus. An hour and
Check it
16
out.
minutes. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
he makes long fucking albums.
Long ass projects.
All right, James.
My
it to him.
number 8. My number 8 is "We Will Always Love You" by
Yes,
the
sir.
Avalanches.
Hey.
Fred and I, we got a spiritual connection putting it at the same
Apparently.
place. And I think I can speak for both of us that this might have been higher if it didn't come out so recently.
Yeah.
You said earlier that they have 3 albums, but to give more context, in case people don't know, their first album was in 2000. Their second album was in 2016. So to get an album so relatively soon, considering that kind of gap, is really pretty great. And because of that, they make like the most like sonically dense, like fucking layer cakes of sound and music. And this one is different because to me at least, they're because they were like the sample guys. Like the first album has thousands of samples. The second one still has like full of samples that they coalesce together into full songs. This one still riddled with samples, but is more like production based. And I think that was definitely a risk for them to take because they've been like known now for 20 years as the sample guys. But to branch out like this, have an album full of other people and full of like original production is amazing because of how well they pulled it off. And Brendan said it earlier perfectly that this is the Avalanches in space. This is music to get Universal to. And I mean, there are 25 songs here, and I could say almost every single one and say it's so good. But if I had to call it like specifics, if I had to cherry pick some, obviously the title track with Blood Orange.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that if they had to choose any song to make the like album title, it was that one. It sets up the tone so well, and Blood Orange's voice is perfect for the vibe that they're going for. And I don't know how the process works, if he wrote the lyrics or if they did or if they worked together or whatever. Either way, it's perfect. We Go On, we mentioned earlier with Cola Boy. That song's awesome. Wherever You Go with Jamie XX and the 2 other ones I can't recall right now, that was probably my favorite of all the singles that came out. And I'm fucking floored that it was Fantana's least favorite. But
he always does it.
But the run from Wherever You Go to Music Makes Me High to Pink Champagne to Take Care in Your Dreaming to Overcome is impeccable. Overcome is probably my favorite song off of here. It's just like a random 3-minute instrumental, but it hits so differently. And in typical Avalanches fashion, everything blends together seamlessly, and it seems less like an album as a collection of songs and more an album as an expression of the joy of music.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me, when I listen to this album, it makes me just overwhelmed with happiness that I'm not going deaf, that I get to listen to this.
It just pulls from so many different styles, and they do it so well
without ever encroaching or making a mockery of any of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a Herculean task, but they pull it off so well.
And I like, at least to me, when they do features on their songs, the features always sound like they're just part of the beat.
Yeah,
They're just part of the whole experience rather than just someone, you know, like rapping or singing over whatever they made.
yeah. Like Denzel Curry has tons of features and he doesn't miss, but there are Denzel Curry features where it feels like he overtakes the song, or it feels like a song and Denzel Curry. But for example, take care in your dreaming. That like I said, it just feels like one like big like idea that all these artists are there to help present rather than just being there like because they want to be there. Love this album. Love it. So good.
I like what you were saying about that, because I think that even on like Take Care in Your Dreaming, it's like one cohesive idea, but I think that even then, like the chorus and what the Avalanches are saying, and then Denzel basically telling like his own personal history, just like literally like the past like 5, 6, 7 years of his life. I think it's just like really interesting. This album didn't make my top 20 just because never mind, you're good. Didn't make my top 20 because I just haven't had enough time to like sit with it. But no, I definitely agree that like when it comes to like soundscape wise, like it's a lot of like people coming to get, like I think the MGMT feature on here is like a really good example of just like they sound perfect together and like it makes like a whole bunch of sense, but like they like came together and like made like a cohesive idea. And I think that like it's probably like when it comes to synthesis, because I guess that's what they're known for when it comes to like samples and shit, it just is like a whole bunch of like it coalesces everything and what feels like their most like, I don't know, just like synthetic, like most like cohesive project yet. And I really enjoyed it. I just wish I had more time with it.
I took an L on it, so I wish I could say something, but all right, Brad.
All right. It's number 7, right? Number 7, I have Alias, EP by Shy Girl.
I don't know what
I just looked at the word and that's the first thing that came out.
7.
If you've ever wanted to hear like Sophie, Sega Bodega, Arca kind of production, but have someone rapping their ass off on top of it, this is that project. Every single song is so tough.
It's like if Cupcake grew up in England and then made love to Sophie or Sega Bodega.
Mm-hmm. Most of the songs on it are produced by Sega Bodega.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Sega Bodega is a person who I love the production of their music. I don't really like the music. And so I feel like this is exactly what I want from them.
I've never listened to their solo stuff, so I have no idea.
Me either.
The only exposure I have to them is Barbie Boy off My Agenda from Dorian's album this year. But yeah.
I gotta shout out the boy Christian. He put me on the Sega. Like I didn't listen, but he played Sega Bodega for me. It like many months before I'd actually heard the name in the hyperpop circle. So I gotta give him credit on that one.
Always shout out Christian. All right. My number 7 ended up way, way, way higher than I thought it was going to. But I can't deny, however many songs long it is, that's how many makes he had. I put The Weeknd's After Hours at number 7.
That's it.
Dude, I love this record. Can't deny. It's just like what I think this is like an iteration of alternative R&B. I feel like just done to the max. Like I really, really love this record. Every single chorus I love, every single song has a moment that like I identify that song with, that I really, really love. It's just great. It really is. I will say though that if you're a lyrics person, that not that the lyrics are bad, but if you listen to them, you're just going to be like, wow, I'm listening to a really bad human.
He's a dickhead.
He's a terrible.
No, The Weeknd is not a cool guy.
Like he literally plays himself in Uncut Gems. Like, he's a dickhead. Like, and I don't mean like him like playing himself. I mean like his character was an asshole because he's the Weeknd, because he's an asshole. Like it's insane. Or like the Repeat After Me interlude. that literally, that it should just be called the gaslighting interlude. Like that's literally.
So good though.
Oh my god, it's an amazing song. But he's literally like, if you ever think about me like while you have sex with someone else, just repeat after me. Just come on. You're just fucking him because just to fuck him. Come on. It's like, dude, you are toxic as fuck. Oh my god. But he makes really good music and has such a sweet angelic voice. So
Such an easy album to throw on. You can just shuffle that shit.
I feel comfortable showing that to literally any person who walks this planet. So yeah, The Weeknd, After Hours, sick ass album.
Big facts. So honestly, 7 through 4 for me, it hurts looking at this order because it could be so different. It could be any combination of these next 4 albums, but what I'm sitting on right now, I am slightly satisfied with. But number 7 is 2017 to 2019 Against All Logic. This was this year for me, like 2020, I just gave up on listening to new releases somewhere around the middle of the year, and just started listening to things that, I wanted to catch up on the classics because I felt like this year wasn't really, wowing me. And I did listen to this when it came out, but it didn't strike me as anything incredible. But when I came back to this, just on a random night, laying in my bed, and I threw on fucking Fantasy.
Well, that sample.
Like, oh my god. The use of like space with sound in that song is like one of the craziest things I've ever heard. And then If Loving You Is Wrong, the way he catches that like magical little vocal vibration and then just like throws it in a loop and it's like, oh my god, it's so good. And then Deefers, of course, just a fucking banger of all bangers. I think definitely the best houseier cut because the back half of the album is maybe a little too house music for me. I love house music, but I think what he does on the first half is something much more special. But still, this album reinvigorated me to listen to 2020 music again. And for that, I'm eternally thankful.
Yeah, if we're talking about like song runs on albums again, to me, if you can't do it good, do it hard. Alarm, Deefers, Faith, Penny. That is the one for me.
Deefers. So good. The album's just so cool. I just like can't believe I'm hearing what I'm hearing.
I didn't listen to it, so fuck me, I guess. Yeah.
I don't remember a second of that off the dome. Can't lie.
Yeah. Let me think. So my number 7, I thought I had this too high, but I'm glad Ben already said it. It's also After Hours by The Weeknd.
You're making a lot of connections right now.
Yeah. It's like I remember like the first listen to this album is probably like the best like first listen that I've had all year. I just remember just like Alone Again starting and I was just like, okay, I'm in for a ride. I think that just like my problem with Weeknd is kind of just like the same thing with Joji where it's like in concept I like him a lot more than like what he puts out. I think that like especially like after he departed from his earlier stuff on like his first 3 mixtapes and like made like a pretty obvious attempt at like going pop that like the music suffered a little bit. But there was always been something that like kept me coming back, like the Daft Punk features on Starboy. And like I remember like it like pissing me off so much that like he opens and closes the album with like Daft Punk features and then the rest is just like top like 40 hits. But like I feel like this is probably like the best like marriage between like that early dark sound and like the kind of like pop like elements that he's like tried to go for. And I mean just like again like with like when he's taking like more like risks like on like the 106 Point Never songs, which are like excellent. The Repeat After Me interlude is fucking ridiculous. But like I think that like even on just like the regular songs, I think that like In Your Eyes, which again sounds like Max Martin in his bag, like, oh dude, we're gonna get you a top 10 hit, I promise. But like it works. It doesn't feel like corny or bad. And I even think that like moments like the saxophone solo feel like inspired and like really, really interesting and like from a production standpoint. Lyric wise, he's just being a piece of shit as usual. But on Escape from LA, I think that there's like a lot of like really interesting well not Escape from lyric like beat wise on Escape from LA, there's a fucking incredible beat switch that happens in the middle of it that was like probably one of my favorite moments in music this year, where I was like, holy shit. And then I think that when it comes to like not being a piece of shit, I think Snow Child is probably one of his most like introspective songs lyrically. And like that's just a fucking beautiful song. Like there's a moment where like the beat cuts out and it's literally just like playing like fucking just like bird chirps and like the sounds of nature from outside for like 10 seconds. And I was like, I'll cry right now. Like shit was fucking ridiculous. And I think that even when he's going for like the more like obvious like hits like with Heartless, like I don't know, it's a Metro Boomin beat. You can't fucking go wrong. Yeah, no, I think this is probably, I don't want to say his like best work, but I think when it comes to like the best like idea of like giving somebody the idea of what The Weeknd is like capable of, I think that this is probably like as good as you're gonna get when it comes to just like running the gamut of his entire career. I feel like it's the album he's been trying to make for a really long time. And yeah, I don't know, really fucking good listen, really good album.
Whatever idea he came into with this, watching the movie After Hours, like
Yeah.
he fucking went with it and he did it, and I have to
Yeah.
commend him for it. All my props.
Oh, yeah.
People. Jesus.
Even like, yeah, I feel like as of late, like when it comes to like eras, like that's kind of become like less and less of a thing as like music has become sort of more like, I don't want to say fast food, but like comes out and like you listen to it and you don't listen to it again. But I feel like this era for him has been, I think he's like a good artist when it comes to shit like that. But like the art direction for this shit, like you see him with the ridiculous ass hair and like the punched in face and the red tux, and you're just like, oh yeah, that was The Weeknd from last year. And I think there's something to be said for that. I think it's like borderline iconic, and like, yeah, I don't know, he really like, this album feels like a project, and like I really like that. It was solid, really solid.
Just I come back to this word a lot, the aesthetic. I love it's the whole, and he embodied that himself too. Music videos, his look, like the whole everything about it. It's a good job. Good job, Abel.
He did what he had to do.
My number 7 this year is Visions of Bodies Being Burned by
There it
Clipping.
is. I think
Let's
that's the highest
go.
placement for Clipping, right? Has to be.
I think so. I'm shocked that it's not as high for everyone else, but I get it. Fucking what was the last album called? I can't remember right now.
There existed an Addiction to Blood, dude. I forget the name of that
Okay.
album all the time. I don't know why.
There existed, if it weren't for Gex, There Existed would easily have been the best album of the prior year. So when I found out that, hey, they're dropping another album, it's the similar theme. Oh shit, they recorded all of these songs at the same exact time that they recorded that album. I was so hyped. There Existed, it is not. But that's not to a fault, because this is still very much different. It leans even more into the horror like thing, because with There Existed, there are scary ass concepts, but not necessarily like horror. Does that make sense? Like songs about like red rooms or running from the police, like that's just scary as fuck, like concepts, versus the horror on this album, like having a song called 96 Nev Campbell, which is just named after Scream.
Mhm.
Check the Lock, which is just like paranoia. And then Enlacing.
That's one of their best songs.
That's one of their best, if not their best song. That's one of the best songs of this year. That beat is insane. The concept of the song is insane. And it feels like you're being swallowed up by the void in the middle of the club. It's so good. And as per usual, like David says what the fuck he wants, and he does it in the most perfect technical way possible without ever being too lyrical, spiritual, like rappity tappity about it. It's just they don't stop. They're always gonna put out like good shit, and this is just the next step in that.
Just so David is one of the best rappers alive. Point blank. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Just
No one wants to talk about it.
just playing with the flows, just throwing them around. Doesn't even matter what meter we're at. Yeah, no, I want to, when you were talking about horror on this album, I think personally, the most horrifying one is Body for the Pile. That song is fucking insane. Talking about just 3 cops dying in 3 different ways, and just the way the Davi details it. Like, yeah, just these crazy concepts. Or, I mean, the fact clipping its existence in and of itself is insane with, you know, these 2 incredible producers, and then Davi, you know, just one of the most technically skilled MCs alive, honestly. And just the way the crazy out there shit that they do, I love it. I'm so glad that clipping exists. Every day I wake up and I
Do you know what's crazy? Do you know what's crazy about Body for the Pile specifically is that they said that was like a random like single that Adult Swim commissioned from them back in like 2015 or 16, and then they're like, oh shit, that fits perfectly on this album, and it does.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I read that while I was like re-listening to this. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Adult Swim, they curate some heat.
Oh yeah.
Put on a lot of
Was it
underground
Adult
rappers.
Swim who did Adult Swim curate that Danny Brown Clams Casino song?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
That shit is ridiculous.
All right, what are we at, 6 now?
6. From number 6, I have From King to a God, Conway the Machine.
Let's go.
Easily my favorite Griselda project. And
Ever.
yeah, probably. Whatever formula they've had, it's all come together on this project. It's hard to describe Conway, why he works so well, but everything he says is just so poignant
Yeah.
and so
That's
perfect.
That's the best word for it, is poignant. That is the most poignant rapper alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, the authenticity, I feel like, is a big thing about Griselda. And because of what happened to Conway, literally in every word that he says, that you can hear the authenticity, because the man has been shot in the back of the head and is living to tell the tale through his raps. And like, I feel like every song, I always remember it, and it still blows me away. Like, every time I think of it, I'm like, God, that's fucking awesome.
It's just so awesome. Favorites on there, Seen Everything But Jesus, Freddie Gibbs verse, obviously, who cares? Spurs 3. You can always count on the Griselda cuts in their projects. Oh, how can I not say Doe and Damani? Holy shit. Holy shit.
That is the song. That is the song.
Anthony's least favorite. I'll say that till the day I die.
Are you fucking serious?
Wow.
How does this
Is
always
that a
happen?
prank?
Why do you guys
There
even
was-
look at that?
There was also there's one other like big album that we all fucked with that we were talking about on this list, and you said, Jamie, your favorite song was something, and it just triggered in my head that I know that that's Anthony's least favorite also.
It happens every time.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I've been trying to find this one Conway bar, because we were talking about the appeal being realness. He says I hear these rappers talking like they dropping classic shit. They songs might even be hot, but that shit caps, so it's an asterisk.
Yes.
And then immediately says they want to blackball me like I'm Kaepernick. Like,
It's always so simple, but so straight to the point. It's so good.
Have you guys heard The Cow off of Hitler Wears Hermes 4?
dude, I haven't done a deep dive into Conway.
Okay, so you think you love Conway now, and you think you've heard his best music, but I promise you, his verse on The Cow is possibly the greatest verse of all time. It's like, I cry listening to it. It's so good.
I mean, like, literally, I'm at a point now where, because I fucked with Doe and Damani heavy, or From King to a God heavy, and so I was like, you know what? Let me go see what Conway's up to. And literally, like Lulu, the little EP with Alchemist that I forgot about for most of the year.
So good.
dude, that's an honorable mention for real. Like Conway, it's just like put Conway on a decent beat and just let him ride at this point. It's too easy.
Yeah. Reject 2 is so ridiculously underrated.
What was I gonna say? Okay, my number 6 just makes too much sense. I'm surprised that, well, not everyone said anything, but I'm surprised where it's placed for you guys so far. Mine is How I'm Feeling Now, Charlie XCX. I mean, we know how much influence it has on this group. We'll address the elephant in the room. 7 Years was my most played song this year. Charlie was my most played artist. I was in the top 0.5% of our listeners. It is what it is.
You're
I
weird.
have a lot of bias. Just
You're
something,
kind of creepy for that.
Yeah, you're a fucking weirdo, man.
something about her, bro. It's just like the replay value, like something. I don't even think she's, well, I won't say it because I think she's talented as fuck. But like, if I'm gonna throw her in the gauntlet of most talented artists, right? Like the amount of time listened to versus like how great of an artist I truly think she is. I don't think that they're one-to-one. But just something about her melodies, like the way that she approaches songs. I don't know, like whoever she has, no matter who's doing her production, she knows how to just like slide. She knows how to fly on that shit. She knows how to make the weirdest, and not weirdest, but just like some crazy melody that I would never think would be there. And with her voice, it just works. I mean, like it started Forever, amazing single, Claws, amazing single. I mean, the way that we saw this come out was unprecedented. Just the transparency and like how
That was definitely the coolest part to me. Like how open she was with her process, especially on this one. Letting fans decide what single was going to come out, what the artwork was going to be. That's
Dropping all the
awesome, man.
stems so
singles,
that anybody
they
could remix
decided
it.
the artwork. The record is filled with just artwork that people made and sent her during quarantine. She would be writing songs for the album on Instagram Live with her fans.
There it
Yeah,
is.
like that's literally, like I've seen some of that on Twitter already. Like that's so crazy. And just like, maybe this does play a part in it, but just the quality versus the amount of time that it took is insane. Like so much good shit coming out in such like a condensed amount of time. It's amazing. I mean, Pink Diamond starts off fucking banger. Forever and Claws are both great. Detonate grew on me. Like all kinds of stuff. And then like she starts off with a lot of these bangers, and it kind of like mellows out a little bit with like the I can't remember the first one, with like Finally Understand and Click 2 and Party for You. Party for You,
The way she comes
Party,
in on
Party for You is such a fucking
shit
good
is
song.
dude, that grew on
fucking
me so
insane.
much. It's the lot, like 5 minutes is ambitious for a Charlie song.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's any time wasted on it. I think it's so good. And then
Second verse.
I mean, Anthems is it's the quintessential her and Dylan Brady. Everyone wanted it. We got what we wanted. Awesome. And then
Danny Harl.
and Danny Harl, true. And then Visions is like the most like straight EDM Charlie song that I've heard in a long time, maybe even ever. But I think it's a great closer. And like the visceral, I don't even know. It sounds like a pounding like beeping sound almost, and that it like the entire instrumentation just like falls apart into like this one like just like abrasive ass sound, and then it just kind of dissipates and the album's over. I think it was a great ride. I just think it's a really good album, and spent a lot of time listening to it.
That sure is a good album, and that's all it is. Moving on to my number 6. I had to bite my tongue earlier, but Song for Our Daughter by Laura Marling.
Wow, no
Maybe-
way.
Yeah, maybe the most emotionally affected I've been by an album released in 2020.
I've
Just-
never felt closer to you. What?
The album is crazy because those first 3 tracks, I'm moving and grooving with them. Those feel like some sort of like 70s inspired like folk rock jams, and then you keep going, and then it enters sort of more balladry, and it doesn't let up on that, and like it just washes over you in such a crazy way. And I think the way the album closes with For You is just like, oh, makes me cry every time. Definitely one of the most touching albums of the year, so personal. And Blow by Blow, I think, elevates the whole thing, because that it's sort of like a meta song about picking the perfect like notes and lyrics that you want to use for a song. And the whole time you're listening to it, you're like, damn, she really did pick like the perfect fucking things for this song and album. It's incredible. And yeah, that's it.
I think the thing that I appreciate about her is that she's both a lyricist and a songwriter. And I think she has those two things mesh.
And a singer, man. The vocals are just so fucking buttery, and the way she incorporates harmonies like at very specific moments, you're just like, you just start resonating in a way that, you know, her voice on its own can't do, but she uses it so selectively that you're like, oh well, don't do that anymore. But damn, that was good.
No, like on Held Down, I don't even know like what musical term to describe this, but like, you know, after each little like thing she says, the background vocals that come in, like the little threes, like here and there throughout that's genius, bro. Like that's so good. I don't know, man. Laura Marling she's a baddie. I love her.
Sounds like garbage to me.
Imagine listening to women. Yeah, speaking of that, my number 6 is Poppy. I Disagree.
Woo!
Which, yeah, I didn't expect that at all. If you asked me this literally like in December, last December, I would have been like, Poppy sucks.
Last December, like, Jacob? Come on.
Yeah, no, like, I only knew her as like the girl who was in that, what is that video? I mean, there are just 4.6 billion of them that are just like, she's just like in like a suit, and then she's like, it fits, and that's the whole video. And I'm just like, yeah, no, she's not good. But I don't know. I think this year there's been like a lot of like, as the like what is it, like the new wave of like hyperpop kids has like kind of like exploded this summer. Like there's kind of just been like this whole like, I don't know, just like theming of like being whoever you want to be. And I think that like she really, really embodies that. And I think it's like really, really interesting. I think from a production standpoint, obviously, like the fusion of pop and metal is like fucking ridiculous. And like at times, I'm not gonna lie, it really doesn't make any sense. But like I think that even though the like lyrics are like really, really simple, I think that she's actually a good writer when she's not just trolling, which it definitely feels like she is on the album a little bit. But I think that when it comes to like just that fusion of like different sounds, like it works way better than it has any right to. And just I think that even on fucking Concrete, just like where she's like talking about like being buried 6 feet deep, turn me into a street, like I don't know, it's like really, really like it's kind of like what the fuck, but it's
that's
like
just one of the craziest lyrics I've ever heard.
It's fucking insane. And then just like, yeah, I don't know, I was like, but when you like watch an interview, it's like she like, it's like always like talking about something deeper. Like there's just like a whole bunch of like really like strange play on the album between like this like sugary sweet ass like sounding song, but then like the lyrics are, I need the taste of young blood in my teeth, and just like shit like that. And you're just like, what is this about? And then she like in an interview, she was kind of just like, it's kind of just like different parts of your personality like fighting for like just like a chance in the spotlight. And I thought that was really fucking interesting. I think Don't Go Outside is one of my favorite songs this year, just because, I mean, not only is it just like a reprise of basically everything that's happening throughout the album, but again, it's kind of just like this reinforcement of this idea that you can be whatever you want. And I mean, if you're a white girl who like, didn't she get like the first like metal nomination, like first female metal nomination for a Grammy this year, like ever? Like, I don't know. She's just like doing like a lot of like really, really interesting stuff. And I think like in a year where it's kind of just been like the embodiment of just being able to do whatever you want, like no matter the circumstance, I think that she's like really embodied that musically. And yeah, I don't know, this album, again, did not care about her before this year, but this album, I don't know, like I keep coming back to it. I think what she's doing is really, really interesting, and I like it a lot.
It's so crazy to me because this like YouTube online persona of her like completely disconnected from. I'd never heard of her before that, never knew anything about her YouTube. I still so like I know that she was like semi fan like she was known before going to music. I still haven't touched any of it. Like all of that is completely foreign to me. I don't know what any of
Don't do
that
it.
is. I just think of her as Poppy the artist, which is I don't know.
That's a nice world to be in. Don't
Yeah.
burst your bubble.
I mean, she seems like a weirdo, but so it doesn't surprise me. But all right, James, what's your 6?
Um, it's been my internet connection is starting to poop on me a little bit. So if I cut out at any point, I'm so sorry. But my number 6 is 7G by A.G. Cook, which is a 49 track, 2.5 hour long, 2 hours and 40-minute long album. And it's it's so good to me, and it's perfect for me because I've been listening to PC music since like 2015, 16. And A.G. Cook was always like the name that I knew was like being at the helm of the ship that is PC music. But especially earlier, they were all mysterious as fuck. You did not know who these people were. And they've slowly gotten more out there and more open with just them being them. But there was always a lack of solo A.G. Cook music, save for like a couple random songs. So for him to just drop his load of just here's what I've been working on like the entire fucking time,
Literally
it's so good.
for like years, and then just
It's so good because 49 track album sounds very daunting, and it is, but it's 7G because it's 7 albums of 7 songs, and they're all broken into like these different ideas. So the first one is like percussion, so it's like very heavy on drums. The second one is guitar, and he gets more in his all indie shit, so on and so forth. And it actually helps a lot with the structure of the album, because normally I would shy away from an album that's an hour long, much less 2 hours and fucking 40 minutes. But there are, with this much content from, quite honestly, a musical genius like A.G. Cook, it's no surprise at all that I would say that there are multiple S tier songs on this fucking album. And because it is so long, I can always go back to it and something will always hit me differently. On top of the fact that the songs I love are always going to be the songs that I love. This album's so interesting because in a way it almost, because A.G. Cook had this album and then he said, all right, and I'm dropping another one. And it was like more of his like actual debut album. And it was like 10 songs. And that's also good. But this is more like a picking of the mind of the man who's been crafting my favorite type of music in recent history. And it really shows like everything that makes up like what he's going for. And there are a decent amount of covers on this album, and they're good. Like there's Taylor Swift covers, Smashing Pumpkin covers, Damon Albarn's other band, what's it called, Blur covers, and you wouldn't expect it because you think A.G. Cook, you think like this weird ass like synth shit. You don't think of like, oh, he listens to actual music. We got a Chandelier cover with him and Caroline Polachek singing a goddamn Sia song, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. I think to finish this entire album with a song called All Right, that's him, Hannah Diamond, Tommy Cash, Caroline, like his frequent collaborators, I think it's like the perfect send off. And forgive me for using like such a cliche term like this, but it really is a love letter to people who have been fans of this music and fans of like him and everything he's done this entire time. And of course, mom, dad, if you somehow made it this far, please turn off now. This album came out the day before we did Acid. So I fell asleep listening to it. And then the next day is when we dropped.
Oh,
And we played a couple songs from it, and that really cemented like that album's place in my personal history forever in the most perfect way. And I'm always gonna play it and smile and think about it. So
Jamie,
that's my number 6.
Literally so incriminating. That's
Jamie, you just demonetized us, bro.
Fuck.
It's over, dude.
We'll just calculate how much money he cost us, and he'll pay us out evenly. It's fine. Okay, Jamie, I have one question. If you have 2 hours and 40 minutes right now, are you going and listening to 7G, or are you going and watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, I'm listening to 7G. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood like 4 times in a month, and I haven't seen it since.
Fair enough.
why did you do that?
Because I watched it again. I watched it with my mom, and then I watched it with my dad.
Traumatized.
All right, top 5 status. That's how we're feeling right
Mm.
now.
Number 5. I got Ungodly Hour by Chloe X Halle.
Understandable.
Pour one up.
You guys have already said it. Production, it's dope. It's clean. It's crispy. The
It's
singing,
unreasonably good.
awesome. And the choruses are so fucking sticky.
Mm.
And I just,
Mm-mm.
every song, back to back to back. The only complaint I can even think to have about this album is that it's not longer. I want more. Give me more of this. Like
Well,
Overwhelmed is like
like
a minute long, and it upsets me every time. I want it to be 5 minutes long.
How long is it? Do you have any idea?
It's
The
like
whole album is 37 minutes.
Damn, I guess 38. Yeah, that would honestly, like, I could live with like a 48, 49 minute Ungodly Hour.
You just
I
have
need
Royal
that.
playing for 50 minutes. I would do that. I'll be okay with that. That's an album.
Hey, Jacob,
forgot
can I
to
ask you
mention-
something?
Yeah.
Your name.
While
Oh.
just real quick, while I was talking about 7G, did you change your name from Jacob to Oh We Poopin'?
Yeah, I might have. Oh,
a sneaky dunk.
Are we?
Oh, we
I'm
pooping.
I'm pooping.
we pooping?
Wait, what were you gonna say, Sam?
I know we talked about the Beyonce like influence, and it's definitely there, but this feels more like if all the combined efforts of the Beehive came together and made this album. Like, it doesn't feel like Beyonce had anything to do with it, but Beyonce fans all concentrated their love for her.
And they,
It's
I mean, they
wonderful.
love Beyonce.
They love
They
her.
are notable Beyonce fans.
They should be.
That makes a lot of sense.
It feels
Like they
a lot of
had. Go ahead.
a lot of their songwriting feels like, I think that like I was like Beyonce, but I feel like she really came into her own with like For and like most notably Self-Titled, and I feel that like they take like a lot of inspiration from like Self-Titled on, where I feel like Beyonce became like a better writer and like more like diverse in their sound. And I feel like even though the album has like so many like, it's definitely like got like a definite like R&B like pop vibe, but like it's still very much like very diverse. Like there's just like so much like from something like Royal to like Wonder What She Thinks of Me, which are like right next to each other. They sound like completely different like songs and vibes, and they're both just like so well done, and they're just written so well. And it feels like, again, like I feel like the Beyonce influence is like definitely there, but I feel like it definitely feels like they're their own like very unique thing, and I like that a lot about them. I think the production is crazy. The production is so crazy for no reason.
Dude, big shout out Chloe X Halle coming through with a heater this year.
Shout
All
out
right.
to Scorch.
My number 5 is, I'm surprised that no one said this yet. Sawayama by Rina Sawayama. I mean, she, like, Rina is just simply like a bad bitch, like through and through. And I didn't know until today that this was produced by Clarence Clarity. That blows my mind.
Oh
Like,
yeah, dog.
yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And like that, her and Clarence, like, there's no way that they could have missed. I mean, just sonically, lyrically, so much range. Like anything from like a Britney Spears-esque cut, like XS, or like so, you know, some Rena twist with Tokyo Love Hotel, to like more subdued, like R&B-esque things with like Chosen Family or like Bad Friend. There's just so much good shit on there. I have songs on there that I would be comfortable showing, literally, like Shut the Fuck Up. I would show that to the most pretentious music listener of all time, and I would show that to the most basic person of all time, or the most basic music listener of all time. Like that song, it's just easy. Um, I don't know, man. It's just a solid, tight ass record. I mean, my favorites are probably like XS, Tokyo Love Hotel, Akasaka Sad, just so much good shit on there. And like the lyrics, so much looking in on Rina as a person, her experience as, you know, growing up in Japan and being a Japanese American. Like, she's just awesome. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she has everything. She checks all the boxes to be a fucking pop star. And that's all I want for her. I think she deserves it. I think she has more than enough talent, and I'm so excited to see anything else that she has to put out, because I went back and listened to her old stuff, and it's
Just as good.
Rina is fucking dope, and she's here to stay. I hope, at least.
I
Oh.
looked at it. Oh, sorry. No, you go.
You got it.
I just looked her up because I wanted to double check. Apparently she's 30, which is fucking nuts.
Yes.
But if you ever watch any of her interviews, I thought she was American too, because you can't hear accents when people sing. She's British as fuck, my man.
Oh, really?
She
Yeah.
has a very strong British accent,
Oh,
which
wait,
is crazy to me.
I knew that, because that's what the 5,938 miles thing. Yeah, never mind. I knew that.
Don't.
But I also want to say on Shut the Fuck Up specifically, this is an album overall I liked. I wish I liked it more. But on Shut the Fuck Up, when she goes from laughing into singing, that's so good. That gives me
That's crazy,
goosebumps
yeah.
every time because of just how goddamn slick it is.
Absolutely. I'm gonna come in number 5. Gonna press the retweet button here. It is also Sawayana by Rina Sawayana.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This was formerly my second favorite album of the year, but things have changed recently. But this is still just one of the best. Pure happiness on that first half, and then a lot of like deep-seated sadness on the back half. Pharrell worship all over the place, and you know you boys loving that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn perfect. Can't poke holes in really any song. Like, every song has its own appeal, its own sound, its own vision that she's executing on a crazy level. And yeah, definitely one of the best from this year. Big B.
She's so talented, dude. All right, Jacob.
Yeah. Oh man, this is top 5 now. We're top 5 now. It's really some pitchfork shit. My top. Before I think Sawayama's a great album. I kind of genuinely forgot about it.
That one was
It's
my
not on
number
this top 20.
21.
Yeah, no, definitely an audible mention. I just totally fucking forgot about it.
I feel like if you fuck with Poppy, you would fuck with.
Yeah, it's that new metal revival for sure.
No, for sure. No,
is.
great album. I just forgot. Jesus Christ, long ass annotation. Anyway, my number 5 is Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple. I mean, like, yeah, I feel like everybody and their mom has already said everything that there is to be said about this album. I don't know if I agree with it being her worst album. I think it's at least better than Tidal, but that's another discussion. That's a whole other podcast. But yeah, but I think, I don't know. It's just like, it's Fiona Apple. I don't know if it's quintessential Fiona Apple, but just like the writing and everything is just like, it's her at her best. I think that songs like Cosmonauts are obviously like really, really like beautifully written, and just like, and I think that other songs like Shamika the production on a lot of this stuff. Like I like how there's kind of just like this like on a couple songs there's this like rolling like piano that like comes back, and there's a lot of like just like callbacks to other lyrics, and I think that there's just like a lot of like very cohesive production on the album, which I'm always a fan of. I remember reading an article and like something like she said like, yeah, I use like my dead dog's bones for percussion on some of the songs. And I mean, I think that just that sums up a lot of like just like how quirky and fucking weird she is, and how like that comes out in the music. I think that songs like, what do you say?
I just said quirky.
Yeah, I was kind of.
That's a little
More-
further than quirky.
That's leaning on like psychopathic.
Nah, that's hard as fuck though. I like.
Yeah, no, shit's ridiculous. But things like that. I think she's like very good at like very like abstract and like very like far spanning songs. But then I think that songs like Under the Table are like about like a very, very specific moment, which I think that are like really, really good. And I think she does a lot when it comes to like writing very, very simple lines that say a lot. Like I think even just the fucking hook of "I would beg to disagree, but begging disagrees with me." That's fucking incredible. It's like the simplest shit ever. And like there are just like lines like that all over the album. And I like how like sometimes the verses are just like really short and atmospheric, where she says like what is it? I'd like to buy you a pair of pillow-soled hiking boots to help you with your climb, or rather to help the bodies that you step over along your route so they weren't hurt like mine. And that's just the whole second verse of that song.
That's crazy.
And like, no, it's just ridiculous. But she's just like an excellent writer. There's songs like For Her where I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, man, there's just like a lot of like hard-hitting lyrics. And like, yeah, I don't know. There's just like a whole bunch of different things on here that I really liked. I think that pretty much every song, there's something here to like. I think Newspaper is fucking awesome. I Want You to Love Me is fucking ridiculous. Heavy Balloon. Yeah, no, I think it's very like, a lot of the songs are like really, really personal. I feel like sometimes like, one of my favorite songs of hers is like Window, but that feels very like abstract and like very like, it could be about like any like situation, like relating like two characters like that. But here, a lot of them feel like very specific. And I like that a lot. I feel like that's a unique quality of the album. That's a little different from the rest of her discography. But I mean, it's Fiona Apple doing Fiona Apple. It couldn't be bad. She could have been shitting for fucking 50 minutes. I'd have been like, that's hard. So
That's kind of tough. It's Fiona.
yo, she went crazy when she was shitting. Yeah.
Oh, we pooping?
Are we pooping?
Are
We're
we pooping?
Yo, are we pooping
Hey
right now?
Fiona, we pooping now.
My number 5, I had to put it down on the homies. By the homies, I mean Ron, because he's the only other person I know that messes with them. West of Eden by HMLTD
There we go.
is
There it is.
a fucking fantastic album. For a debut, especially, it's insane. The production quality on this is pretty nutso, because it sounds so professional, but this is their first like venture into the big boy album world, which is crazy to me. Super Mario Galaxy is fucking on me right now. Hold on, I need to get that good lighting. Okay. So it, with the overall concept of the album being about like, you know, the capitalistic West dying and oh, East of Eden, how about West of Eden? East of Eden's my favorite book. I hate capitalism. What's not to like? And we get, it's never the same thing. And we get like these very weird songs that are performed like beautifully. They have such a good frontman. I can't think of his name right now. I think it's like Henry or something, but he has such a voice. It's so theatrical to me. When I listen to him sing, it reminds me a lot of like being in theater.
That's a
There's
really
just-
good way to put it.
There's something like so like, I feel like I'm watching a man on stage like sing, but I'm just listening to the music. And we got like them like fucking with the genres, but always doing it so well with like low key, like more weird cuts, like the beginning song, The West is Dead, and 149, which is probably my least favorite song, but it's still good. And then Joanna, Where's Joanna? Those songs, I don't even know what genre you would call them. Like, they sound like songs straight up ripped out of a musical. Mikey's song, which reminds me a lot of Me and Michael by MGMT, but it sounds like this super sweet sort of love song. But when you read the lyrics, it's about a stalker that was stalking like the main singer of the band, which is, it's pretty crazy that they would put it in that context. And they know how to summon an energy really well. Like when we go from like The West is Dead to Load It, and it starts to pick up, and then we get the Ballad of Calamity James, which is like a very super Western like intro that leads directly to the Door, which has like the energy of like a 200 BPM like hardcore song, or like a fucking speed metal song that makes me want to punch a fucking hole through the wall. But it's still just like, it's a Western ass banger, but it's so hard. The songwriting on this is pretty wild too. If I had to pick a favorite song, it would be Death Drive. And I mean, I wish Ryan were here. Ryan and I could talk about that album for a while.
It's album of the year, right?
I think it was.
I'm pretty positive.
If it wasn't Poppy, then it was this. The only complaint I have with this album is like, this may be like, I have no idea what you said.
No.
There he goes.
Oh, he's back.
He's
You
back.
Okay.
A moment.
We missed that singular
What
sentence.
would you say? I had no idea what you said.
What, me?
Yeah.
I just said it was, I thought it was Ryan's favorite. I was pretty sure it was his favorite. It was album of the year.
Yeah.
Big facts.
If the only like negative thing I have to say would probably be like the last song, is because the album really ends with Blank Slate, and that's the perfect send off for it. And then you get Worst Looming, which is like, it's supposed to be like an epilogue kind of feel. That song's so unnecessary. Knock that song off, and there's really not that much I would change about this album. I would highly recommend it to everybody, which is why I'm shocked that it really didn't hit too much amongst the Pogs.
It was a much better re-listen. Like it would definitely be an honorable mention for me.
It's
For
due
sure.
for a re-listen for me.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the EP they dropped in 2018, and this is so different from that. And I don't know, it just didn't hit. I didn't like the direction they took it.
I mean, that's fair. Because the EP, it's been a minute since I listened to it, but it's like, it's definitely more of like a electronic kind of vibe to it. And there's really not anything on this album that I would call electronic based.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
All right, Brendan, you got number 4 going up right now.
I'm sorry, Sam. It's Song Machine Season 1, Strange Times by Gorillaz.
Wow, how is this even possible?
That's so high. I get it, but
Yeah,
number 4 is lofty. Wow.
Yeah, shut up, kid. All right. But yeah, what Jamie and Jacob said about how it's basically just humans, but fully realized. Where the goal was just make really good individual songs with no real concept tying them together. And I think they fucking nailed it. I genuinely like every single song on this album. And there's not much else to say. I think it's like peak Gorillaz. I really do.
Peak.
You'll get there one day.
So is this your? I'm assuming this is your favorite Gorillaz album.
No, Plastic Beaches, but it's like
Thank God.
it's
There we
under
go.
Plastic Beach.
Okay.
not the now.
We got Gorillaz and Mike Will made it. Are you kidding me? That's all I gotta say.
I mean, I just hope that at one point in time, Black and Elton John were in the same room together.
I feel like for
It's
that
tough.
kind of song, they definitely had to be.
They had to be.
I
Got the joint
sincerely
EP.
hope so. All right. My number 4 is a shocker to me. It came out of nowhere. It is Alias by Shy Girl. Very,
Or
Yes,
Very
sir.
Wow.
very high up. I listened to this album for the first time less than 24 hours ago. And I've heard it 5 times since then, I think. That shit feels like it was made for my ears. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is what I've been curating, like a section of my music listening to, like to bolster myself up to be like, ooh, I'm ready for Shy Girl, for her magnum opus. And she, oh my God, I like this fusion of electronic and grime and dance and pop and like everything in between. It's so sick. Her voice is like just mesmerizing all over this, and the way it's it's pretty appropriate for the subject matter. It's like a seductive voice over this, like just these crazy instrumentals. I don't know, and she just fucking glides on every track. It's also just hard when, like Brendan said, Sega Bodega produces the majority of the album. It's just like, I don't know. I know she's not doing anything new with the concept of her lyrics. Like I know we've had like a Cupcake or like a Slater already, but I feel like she's done the best iteration of that by far, honestly. This album is loud, it's eclectic, it's sexy, it's fucking terrifying at times. I feel like if you were to turn a dominatrix into an EP, this is what it would sound like. But like the coolest dominatrix.
like a clubbing dominatrix.
Yeah. But just like, I don't know, each track, 12, I don't know how to describe it. It's just fucking creepy. It's almost like you're getting chased by a killer, but your killer wants to have sex with you before they do it.
I think
That's-
I know. I think there's another term for those people, but
We're gonna, I'm trying to keep us monetized, dude.
okay, fair enough.
It's over. It's already
It's too late.
Like she says, the one line that I get from that track is, why ride with the devil when I can give you hell? That's tough as fuck. Slime, oddly accessible, considering it's produced by Sophie, Sega, and Kai Whiston. But she fucking slides. Freak, weird chorus, still infectious. Literally like a lot of just moaning on this track, but it just works. I don't know. I love it. She says, I don't give a fuck, but I might. That's tough. I don't care who you are. Tasty, first stylistic change, more EDM and house vibes, but her with autotune, yummy. Lang, that's the one. That is the one.
Lang is the hardest song of the year.
Oh, man, just the biggest banger. The chorus, surround, just want to hear you moan louder. Forget all of that. Want to watch your body wow out. She's fucking unhinged. And I love it, bro. And then dude, I'm going track by track, and it's only 7.
Every song, though.
Dude,
Every song is
Bobby,
great.
The way the beat changes with her melody, like during the chorus, is fucking sick. Siren, I don't even know how to describe Siren.
The way that song builds, oh my God.
The little, I don't even know, that like electric whatever. Yeah, dude, like it's so sick. It's just a great EP. It's I don't know, like it's just, she makes for how short it is, it's only 19 minutes. It feels like it goes in several different directions, but then also like stays true to whatever Shy Girl is, this freakazoid human that I am in love with now. She just slides, and that's simply it. It's a great EP. I fucking love it.
My number 4 is "What's Your Pleasure" by Jessie Ware.
That makes so much sense.
It does. Very much in the LCD sound system wheelhouse, with the production on this thing and the songwriting too, in a way. It just, for me, every song is like the most wonderful journey I could ever go on. Spotlight might be my favorite song this year. And yeah, it's an album that moves me in the exact kind of way I love to be moved by music, where, you know, it balances the dancing and the crying on this perfect tightrope act. And I love it. Beautiful album.
I want to see you in like a business casual button-up shirt and like a Coors Banquet out in the front porch with it just buttoned down, just one button shorter than it would be if you were going out in public. And I just want us to be playing Spotlight. That's it.
Yeah, I have so many moves that I want to like debut with Spotlight with the chorus. Oh my fucking goodness!
Yeah,
can't wait.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a sick record.
Yes.
All right.
My number 4 is How I'm Feeling Now by Charlie XCX. Yeah, I just feel like, again, we've already said everything about this album that could ever possibly be said. But like, yeah, I don't know. This album, I think like this album is more kind of like tied to like memory for me, just because like it just like defines like the month of like May just like so well for me. It just like, this album was out and this was literally all I listened to for like 2 weeks. And it's definitely not like her best, obviously, but I think that again, there are a lot of like just ridiculous moments that are like, in a way, like continuations of what she's done before, but also are just like, I think like really interesting, like hints of what there is to come for, I guess, like Charlie and I guess the whole PC music scene. Finally got a Dylan Brady collab, which is what everybody and their mother has been wanting. And I think that, again, Claws and Anthems are fucking ridiculous ass songs. The way that Charlie comes in on verse 2 of Party for You is the best moment in music all year. I'm sorry. Nobody's doing that. Sorry.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It took me a second.
I can't disagree with
fucking
that.
ridiculous. It's fucking insane. It's not even fair. But like, yeah, I don't know. The choruses are all on point. A lot of it is very much just like Charlie doing Charlie. But I mean, I think that even production wise, like, I think that like when it comes to like PC music, obviously the ideas are like very, very out there. And I think that the decision to start an album with something like Pink Diamond is like crazy. And I think it kind of fully cements that she just doesn't give a fuck about like anything anymore. And she just like, I want to make the music I want to make. And I think that's like really cool. And even then, I think that when it comes to like, because I feel like this is kind of like the year that like, I don't want to, what's the word? I don't want to be elitist. A lot when people started like finding out about like PC music and hyperpop, and it started becoming more like, of a thing, like with the like SoundCloud playlist and shit. And so I think that like as like more like out there ideas are becoming like accepted in the mainstream, I think that even a song like Click 2 is just like a really, really interesting way to like take like sounds that are already like weird and abrasive and strange and push them like thematically into new like just like stratospheres of sound. I think that like just like the decision to be like, I'm gonna make a sequel to a song and just sample one word off of it and then it's gonna be a completely new fucking song is ridiculous. I think that the moment when like it becomes like its own song is like the fucking transcendent moment. And then I think they're even just like regular songs like Finally Understand or like Visions, which I guess Visions is kind of like, again, what's the word? I guess Ben said EDM earlier, and I guess that like, yeah, it definitely characterizes it. But I think regular songs like I Finally Understand or even 7 Years, which feel, I guess, more normal, are like just really, really well done. And I know that Charlie's not always like the strongest writer, but like I think that again, like the marriage of her like production and like her vocal presence just create this like really, really, really interesting soundscape that I kept coming back to. And yeah, I don't know, it's really good. I think that again, the way that she like did the album and just like being just like super fucking open with it, I think was really interesting. I think her dropping the stems to all the songs they just give to people to remix, like literally every song of the album is just like out there for people to do whatever they want with. I think it's just like a really, really interesting and cool way to approach an album as I think things become sort of more like homegrown and like community based when it comes to music. And I mean, Enemy's mid, but aside from that, just like, yeah, every song in here is fucking fantastic. And yeah, I don't know, this album was here for me. And nobody else was something crazy. So yeah.
I feel you, dog. I feel you. It is nice. I like. It's a whole era for me. Whatever month that dropped, like the week or so after that, like I'll never
It was
forget.
crazy.
Oh my god. All right, James, how we feeling?
What we're feeling is my number 4, which is I Disagree by Poppy. An album that does not feel of this year, considering the singles came out in 2019 and the album came out in January 2020. But if anything, that really, like, it's to its benefit because this is a goated album to me. I think this is peak Poppy. I think she's mastered exactly the sound that she's going for on this album. Her choruses, man, like they were good and they've gotten better. And then on this one, like Chorus for Concrete or Chorus for Anything Like Me, Nothing I Need, incredible. My favorite song is probably gonna be Blood Money because I listen to a Poppy album. I expect like the metal stuff. I expect the weird pop things. I don't expect a straight up fucking industrial ass like heater like Blood Money. That shit was nutso, and I need to know who produced that song. And of course, like there's something to be said with Super Mario Galaxy. Give me a second. Okay. There's definitely something to be said with like nostalgia with music. And this was like the last concert that we were at. And specifically when I listened to a song, I already loved that song. My back.
There we go.
What was the song you said?
Sick of the Sun.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is, again, a song that I already loved, but now when I listen to it, I'm going to think about all of us being a bunch of idiots and hugging each other at the concert. And I'm just, again, it's like the A.G. Cook thing. I'm going to smile every time I listen to it. And then to finish with Don't Go Outside, which is a strangely, like, ambitious-ass song to interpolate, like, her own songs as, like, the culmination, like, the big, like, final, like, moment on her album. It's done so well. I not only did it stick the landing, it like personally walked up to me and gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I have to give it a 10. And I mean, it just has me excited more than anything because I feel like this is only the beginning of what Poppy has to offer to us, and hopefully the beginning of whatever long-term effects may come from this and whoever she may inspire. I need more of this.
Mm-hmm. Felt
very well, James. Put it very, very well. Okay.
Right on.
All right.
Top 3.
Number 3, I got
Ooh.
Self-Titled by Leanne La Havas.
Yeah.
I really don't have a lot to say about it because I feel like there's not a lot to it. It's just really like stripped back, her singing, and it just sounds like I love how live it sounds. And I just think she does a lot with a little. I think she does it perfectly. That's really it.
It's
Well
just like
said.
it sucks because I see how much you guys love these L's that I've taken. It's just like smearing them in even harder the longer I sit here. All right, well, my number 3 is something that all of you are or should be very familiar with. Also, what I thought for a long period of time, or a decent period of time, would be my album of the year. Obviously, it's not. My number 3 is Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. Both of them had absolutely massive years. And I feel like this is both of their best work as of now, honestly. I really, really love Alfredo. I love I keep going back to it, the aesthetic. I love, it feels like almost, I don't know, they just set this vibe. It's almost like classy even. And I don't know, man. Like the spoken word samples that'll pop up at like the start or the end of a track. Um, and then like how these instrumentals like get to breathe so much at the end of each song. Like Freddie will go fucking hard for 2.5, 3 minutes, and then this incredible like Frank Lucas with Benny, amazing song, one of the hardest cuts on this record of the year, whatever. And then just go back and listen to what that instrumental becomes 15, 20, 30 seconds after like Benny's verse ends. You're like, what is this? It's insane. It's beautiful. And it's just crazy to me that that can be the same song. And Alchemist does that a handful of times on this project. I don't know. It's like, it's just so good. I love watching The Last Dance as it was coming out, and then getting 1985 as the lead single.
Yes.
Intro. As I said, Michael Jordan, 1985, bitch, I travel with a cocaine circus. Hearing that on wax, so good. God is perfect. Literally, don't even need to say a thing about this song other than Freddie's flow. Everything else is amazing.
I think that's one of the best beats on the album for sure.
Literally, like
Insane.
that song is amazing at every single, but just his flow by itself, it could literally end wars. It's so good. Just like the beat on Scotty Beam, that feels like truly like just upper echelon. Like him and Rick Ross are just sipping on rosé on a yacht in Miami. Like it's so nice. Freddie slides, Rick Ross does his thing. Oh my God, his opening bar. You need a dictionary when you write your raps. That's so hard. Like really think about that. Like he's like, this shit is natural to me. You have to think about it. Like, come on, bro. I'm not even trying. That's like the hardest flex I've heard in a minute. Look at Me, amazing. Frank Lucas, tough as fuck. Something to Rap About speaks for itself. I don't even have, like, come on. Just the idea of God made me sell crack so I'd have something to rap about. That's so dope. That's such a dope take on the just white coke rap. And the way that he'll take these concepts and twist them. Like he says, God made me sell crack so I'd have something to rap about. And then at a different part in the song, he's like, Lord, let me hit this hoe, like, talking about a joint or whatever. It's like, Lord, let me hit this hoe so I have something to rap about, because he's so, dependent on weed, whatever. Like, it's sick. And then Tyler, one of the best Tyler verses of the year. Baby Shit, Slid, the outro at the end, the sample, disturbing as fuck. Babies and Fools, got my Conway phase going on. Come on now. Skinny Suge, the strings on there absolutely seduce me. And although like this is one of the weaker songs on there to me, like just listening to Freddie rap at this point is enough to keep me entertained. And then All Glass, the reason why at this point this wasn't my album of the year is honestly because of the outro. I feel like in music listening now, I don't mean to, and I don't consciously try to do this, but I feel like I factor in intros and outros a lot when I think of the flow of an album. And like the way that All Glass leads this off, I feel like isn't appropriate for the vibe that we've gotten. I don't have like any complaints about it necessarily, but I guess just simply by just proximity, being by all of these amazing songs, just lined up like that. I'm sorry, All Glass, you're not mid, but you kind of sputtered off at the end. But
Disagree.
Alfredo,
Yeah.
fantastic project.
My number 3 is Mock's Hard Lemonade by Mock Hami. Mock Hami, he's one of the greatest of all time. I think it's very, very easy for me to say that at this point. Last year I was struggling with this, but he dropped 3 amazing albums last year, and then this year obviously came through with this one. And he's one of those like otherworldly artists who feels like he's almost not real, like like an MF Doom sort of character, where it's like the line between what he's talking about and what's truth almost doesn't even matter just because he's saying it in the coolest way possible. I think this is maybe his best produced album, probably best sounding, best mixed for sure. It's so full. Every beat is just like godly, and the elevation of sort of his usual crew that he brings on his projects. I feel like they all leveled up on this album too. The God Fahim, maybe one of my it is one of my favorite guest verses of the year on Smoke Malden. The way he jumps into the verse is like he's just like, it's like he trips and falls and then starts sprinting at full speed. It's crazy. Photocopy Sloppy is literally just an interlude of him talking, but it's like incredible. And Photocopy Sloppy is just, and in parentheses, dump fraud. I mean, he's so invested in his own lingo and language, and that's the kind of stuff I adore with music, and especially rap music. So definitely one of my favorites. This album makes me happy.
I think I'm just gonna have to clip that whole monologue and then just have that on replay when I listen to that for the first time.
Oh my God, please listen to this as soon as possible.
Well, dude, after we get done with this, I'm finally like unchained from the 2020. Like,
Yeah.
I have to go back and listen to a bunch of 2020 albums that I missed out on, whatever. But like, I probably have like January's worth of music just like queued, cataloged up right now, just in this, because I've had to section off this amount of time just for this,
Oh yeah. I mean, I can stall for time while Jacob's taking a shit, and talk more about this album, because another person who gets elevated on this one is Your Old Droog, who I think he's so hit or miss for me. He's on his solo stuff, he's way too close to corny. He's like right next door to it. But in these features,
corny man.
Oh, he is a corny man. But on these features, he's got sort of like a trade-off kind of back and forth song with Mock on this one, and then Clout Dracula remix, which features Navy Blue.
What did you just say?
Clout Dracula.
I'm downloading this album right now.
I was gonna say that's the most audacious thing I've ever heard. That's amazing.
And this song is incredible. And I'm not gonna spoil what Droog's verse is, but it is pretty magical. And just this album is damn near perfect. I can't wait for many more Makami albums.
Sam, I have to know. Did you hear that Your Old Droog song off of his newest album? I think it's called like Prada. It features Makami.
No,
and
I've been meaning to though.
As LP and Black Thought too.
Yeah, and the God Fahim.
Incredible song.
Holy shit. Okay. Yo, you're kind of a good salesman over here, Sam. I can't lie.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, everyone. I don't know about Spotify. Oh, I'll save that. Are we doing honorable mentions? Like,
yeah, we'll just kind of we'll kind of just throw some shit around.
Okay.
Once we get everyone's number one.
Gotcha. All right. But yeah, no. Please.
Yeah, I think at this point we should just go to Jamie.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible how Jacob just in the middle of it can just leave.
It's literally
come back.
I've never seen someone with more privilege in a friend group in my life. Like literally us just sitting there and just kind of like passive aggressively being like, I mean, we did choose 9:00, and at 9:05 he says, I'll just be 1 sec.
Yeah, this podcast is really long.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm honestly terrified it just won't even record when I'm done. It'll just like crash.
If that happens, I'm not doing this again, and this will just be for us.
Mm-hmm. But I hope it doesn't happen. It still says recording, so.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, the thing is, we just did not do the 20 through 10 quick at all.
No.
Kind of did exactly what we're doing right now, but for 20 albums.
But that is what it is.
Go ahead, Jamie.
My top 3 this year were all like juggling for number 1 at some point. So it was tough to make this top 3, but my number 3 album this year was Magic 10 Tricks Point Never by 10 Tricks Point Never.
Mm-hmm.
The theme, the man got his name from a radio station. It was 106.7. I don't know how the fuck he turned it into what it is, but he's paying homage to that with this album, and it sounds like you're going through a radio station of everything he's ever made. It sounds like you're getting every facet of the uncut gem that is Daniel Lopatin on this album. And when you get stuff like Long Road Home, fuck you, Jacob. So when you get stuff like Long Road Home,
I'm not even interested in what you have to say anymore.
You're not. Trust me.
how do you change an AirPod for 10 minutes?
It would not let me back into the fucking Zoom meeting, and I was like, cool, fuck me, I guess. So I had to force quit.
Well, we're
Pushing it
still
out.
on number 3, so you didn't
Oh yeah.
totally miss out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be
It's
you
out on
next.
Clout Dracula remix, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, but I'm so happy that he linked up with Caroline for Long Road Home,
It's
because
a great song.
when it came out as a single, I wasn't feeling it, and then I watched the music video and I started to get into it, and it's funny how it works when the album's out. It's one of my favorite songs now. That pairing is so perfect, and I want them to do more shit together. So you have like more like poppy kind of stuff like that, like with production you would like maybe hear on like more like The Weeknd kind of stuff, who does make an appearance on the song No Nightmares, which is just makes you float in a pool of ecstasy. That song is fantastic, and it feels like the big turning point of the album. Some weird like alt stuff on here, like I Don't Love Me Anymore, or Lost But Never Alone, in a more somber way. Like if this was another band doing it, it's like more of like a sort of just like garage band kind of song. So it's crazy that this is coming from him, and of course he does it so well. And then you get your traditional OPM sort of like weird musical textures with the experimental shit, like the Weather Channel or like Imago. It's just, when you listen to it as a whole, it feels like the summation of his entire career in the best possible way. It doesn't feel like a rehash of anything. You know, it's that feeling of when you listen to St. Pablo for the first time and you're like, if Kanye retired, that would be a perfect song for him to retire on. If 10 Tricks Point Never retired, I feel like this is like not the defining album, but like the album that like people would go back to and be like, damn, he went out on a high note. Just so many moments when I listen to this where I have to, like, it commands your attention. When I listen to this, it makes me stop what I'm doing, and it turns me and makes me focus on like what is happening between my earbuds. He's a master of his craft. I just think this is a really good album. Simple as that.
That's sick.
I just didn't give that album enough time.
Me either.
I didn't finish it. I'm a bad person.
I've only seen the music video.
Dude, we're literally just breaking his heart right now.
Literally not a single person listened to the full thing.
No, I did listen to the full thing. I just didn't keep listening.
Yeah,
It was one of those I didn't get to go back to in time.
fair enough.
Jacob.
Wait, yeah, we gotta go
Jacob.
back to Jacob. Hold on.
Oh yeah, fuck up the rotation. My number 3, as I continue to be on my pitchfork shit, is 3:15:20 by Childish Gambino.
I knew it, bro.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing right here is a person on an island by himself,
Yeah, right now.
in complete isolation, and we're gonna listen to a monologue of a man speaking to himself, digging in sand in the middle of.
And then after it's gonna be like, yeah, cool. Moving on to number 2.
Hey, I think it's a solid album.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he wasn't so fucking stupid with the rollout. I think it's maybe like bottom 5 rollouts of any album ever released ever. Um,
Just no album cover.
just fucking horrible. Just like the definition of pretentious, and it just really sucks because I feel like nobody's going to check it out because I personally feel like it's his best work. I think that if you were to go on, let me think, there's obviously like the hits like 1238. That's what I'm saying. Like it just sounds so fucking stupid to talk about this album because I have to talk about numbers, but like just so fucking dumb. But 1238, as in the 21 Savage song, is just like I think that in a microcosm, it just like represents the album at its best because it's just like this. It's a song about like just like tripping on mushrooms, but it like sounds like this like old soul with like modern touches, and like I don't know, it just goes in so many fucking different directions, and like the lyrics are like very very like I don't know, they feel very like almost casual as he's recounting the story, but then at the very end it turns into this fucking like industrial like trap like voice sampling thing, and it's just like it's just like monstrous and ridiculous for no reason. And I mean, like, I think that it's just like, I think that when it comes to like Gambino's discography, I feel like you have like everything like being corny as shit leading up to Because the Internet, which was somehow good. And then you have Awaken My Love, which feels just like, I don't know, a Funkadelic cover album. It's like a good album, but like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it has much to do with like his ethos or like his like character development, like as a human being over the past couple of years. And this kind of feels like the first, like, I don't know, successor to Because of the Internet. And then it's like actually kind of like talking about him and his narrative. But I think that like his songwriting has also like improved like massively since like 2013 or whatever. So you have songs like Feels Like Summer, which are like, again, that song came out 2 years ago, but like it's just a song about global warming, even though it sounds like this like really nice summery song. And you have other songs like, let's see what fucking stupid ass title he gave it. No.
Mathematical ass album.
Yeah, dumbass album. 3531, which is just like, again, like this almost like country, like a song that's like merging like country and trap. And like it's literally just him talking about like selling drugs. And it's like a cautionary tale, but like the way that he's like writing it, it's just like, it's so well done. It's like there are a lot of just like references to just like the cadence of like regular trap when it's in the lyrics, but like the way he's singing it, like it's entirely sung. Everything he's doing just feels just like his songwriting has improved like tenfold, and I think that's just like evident on a lot of the songs. I think the features on here, even though there aren't that many, like Ariana Grande, 21 Savage, just fucking kill it no matter what. And then I think again when it comes to like his character development, you have 4748. It pains me to say these song titles, but like
Literally.
he's like talking to his child on that interlude, and he's just like, "Do you love yourself?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I think that in the context of his discography, that's just really fucking beautiful to me. And I think just like moments like that, along with like the willingness to experiment on songs like I'm not calling it whatever stupid number it is, Warlords, just whatever song where it's just like him literally screaming the entire time. I think are just like really like interesting departures that like there were hints of this stuff like earlier in his discography, but I feel like this in particular is him like going the furthest. And it's not always the most cohesive, but I definitely think that like when it comes to like the lyricism and just like the continuation of his story along with like the production, I think it all comes together in a really beautiful way, and I fucked with it. So
You know, Jacob, I'm really happy for you for that.
Yeah.
I'm not
better be.
angry. I'm not angry.
I could never
I
be
understand.
Jacob.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just the way I think about that album, I'm like, is that the Little Fish, Big Fish one? I like that one.
Littlefoot, Bigfoot, yeah.
Little
You said red fish, blue fish?
Yeah, literally whatever Dr. Seuss had going on.
Oh yeah, 2574, dumbass. So fucking stupid.
1738.
So we're at
Number 2.
runner-up
Number
territory.
two.
Number 2, my runner-up, it's my number 1 album, is Music to Be Murdered By, Side B.
Let's go!
But no, my actual number 2, I could never have possibly predicted this album to even exist, but it's a written testimony by Jay Electronica. Definitely the best first listen of an album I had all year, which, and this is coming from someone who had no care at all about Jay Electronica, never heard a single song, didn't know anything about him, just that he exists and doesn't drop music. I didn't know anything about Jay-Z being on the album. I just saw, oh, Jay Electronica dropped. Okay, I'll listen to it. And then how I feel about the album now is exactly how I felt about it when I first heard it. And I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. The way that he raps isn't the most technical thing ever, but he's just so unique. And every word he
Only
says,
he can
I'm
do
here
it
for
the
it.
way he can.
And the production's incredible. I didn't even know he produced, but he does.
Beat on Ezekiel's wheels, ridiculous.
And there's so
Not
many,
any of them is actually fucking ridiculous.
so many fucking quotables. I quote a Jay Electronica song every day at this point.
I mean, yeah, dude, we have like little jokes here and there that we don't even like. Yeah,
It's just like these little standout moments. Like sometimes I was held down by the gravity of my pen. Sometimes I was held down by the gravity of my sin. Sometimes, like Santiago, at crucial points in my novel, my only logical option was to transform into the wind. And then his voice just like dissipates as he says when. For what?
you didn't need to do that.
To me, it's like the lyrical equivalent of what I was talking about with the One O Tricks Point Never album, where if you start the zone out, like Jay Electronica specifically, like when he gets like on a roll, his words and his voice will grab you and make you pay attention. And it's so crazy because I've had not a lot of albums that do it like that to me.
And Jay-Z rapping like Jay-Z. He's still Jay-Z.
We're just doing crazy things. I'm sure it took him 20 minutes to write every verse on this.
No, he probably just walked in the studio one day and was like, "Hey Jay, you got to make this album, but I'll do half of it."
He said, "Gotta get you to do it."
Fine, I'll
faster,
do
shit.
it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I love every song.
Yeah, I think the one that really like tied me in, like, because I'd heard it once, you know, was pretty apathetic to it, kind of whatever. And then you guys just beat it into my head, and you're like, you have to re-listen to it. I'm like, fine, Brendan and Jamie, I'll do it. So I did it, and then the very last song, "All Praise Is Due to Allah," that is the one. Like, that's the one that I was like, okay, like, this album is actually pretty special. I can't lie. I mean, just the concept of that song. It's the saddest song I think I've ever heard.
It's hard to listen to that song without tearing up.
I mean, dude, literally, like I'm looking at it right now. So, like, Jay Electronica says, the concept of the numbers on the phone and, you know, just having the conversations, but these people are gone. You know, Jay-Z has an incredible verse, and then Electronica like plays off of that, and so he's got like, this isn't his verse. He says like, "Teardrops on my face, it's like teardrops become waterfalls by the time they reach my laces. My eyelids is like levees, but my tear ducts is like glaciers. As I contemplate creation, the salt that heals my wounds pour out my eyes just like libations. I can't stop my mind from racing. I got numbers on my phone." Like, that's just like in the middle of the verse. That's like what, a fifth of that verse, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I think this album is just such a perfect representation of Jay Electronica as a person. I feel like I get everything I could possibly need from him.
dude, he ends his last verse on the album saying, you know, "Now I just miss my mamas. The clothes we wear to bed at night to sleep is just pajamas. The flesh we roam this earth in is a blessing, not a promise. I bow with those who bow to the Creator and pay homage." Like, that just sums up the entire album right there perfectly. That's incredible. It really is. All right, well, I guess it's my turn for my number 2. I'm sorry in advance. I have a lot of things to say about this because this is probably for the last 3 months been the thing that I've listened to the most. And it's going to be From King to a God by Conway the Machine.
Yes, sir.
The deluxe version.
Wow.
Deluxe version?
The deluxe version.
Oh, well, let me just go ahead and insert deluxe version into mine.
Because usually I don't feel the need to usually I would just assume that it's not the deluxe version when I'm talking about an album, but I feel like I have to specify that because somehow he keeps the quality up for 5 bonus tracks in a different, I'll get to in a second. Best Griselda project by far to me, easily. Production credits mainly go to, I've never heard of these two guys, Derringer and Beat Butcher. I don't know who they are, but they're all over this project. And the more familiar faces like Hit Boy and Alchemist. There's a song produced by Murda Beats, and it's fucking awesome. DJ Premier, Rock Marciano, he produces my favorite track from the bonus tracks, Crack in the 90s. And the Ninth Wonder is also on there. Just, it's like the best iteration of just some grimy rap shit with some great bars over some good ass beats. But it's really just Conway. Conway is he's oozing with charisma all of the time, and he's just so in your face. He demands your attention, and it's always him and his bars that are at the forefront of any track, no matter what the beat is, no matter the song structure. It's always, I am here for Conway, and what does Conway have to say? You know, the album is consistent, but it's got variety. You know, like the Griselda thing, they can get pretty comfortable with just getting a pretty good beat and then just rapping, and then that's it. And you're like, they're so talented that, like, I mean, you can bob your head to it. You're like, this is, I mean, they have talent, but that's not going to keep me around. And I think Conway made a project that's just going to keep me around for a while. It's just crazy bars, tough as fuck. You know, tough flows delivered in a double track like Doe and Damani. You know, the vital Griselda cut, Griselda posse cut in Spurs 3. But then, like, incredibly heartfelt 8-minute track, Forever Dropping Tears. Just like, you know, you see a Freddie feature and you expect something hard as fuck, and you get like a really smooth and just catchy, like, Seeing Everything But Jesus. You know, like, I don't think this album is necessarily like anything left field, but like Brendan said earlier, I think it's just the best iteration of what they go for, what they've been going for. Just flows beautifully. The interludes with DJ Shay, you know, like bring a fucking tear to your eye in retrospect. And just what he's saying, even if it weren't DJ Shay or just some random person saying it, it works conceptually. It's just perfect. Deluxe songs just as consistent, like as the core, but then they're somehow fresh and different and keep up the same quality. But yeah, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read bars from this, and because this thing has my jaw on the floor all the time, and I find myself like just walking around all of the time saying Conway one-liners just in my mind all the time with Conway. I'm relating everything because he says so many things. I just think of a Conway bar to everything. Gave all my shooters the ultimate green light like D'Antoni. Half a brick on the table, I know it ain't gonna last. So much fish scale, the shit looking like a plate of bass. I told the bro, wear your gloves and cover your face with mask, not for COVID-19 shit, you got H to bag. That Blue Magic had a junkie shooting like 3D. Blue Magic Meth. 3D is an NBA player, that was his nickname, and he played predominantly for the Orlando Magic. That's insane.
Hey, Ben, what are the Magic colors?
Blue! Whoa! Lyrics written in Braille inward, you got to feel it to understand.
Yep. He's not lying. He never lies.
He never lies, and every single thing that I say is with the toughest flow that you could say that in.
He sounds so good.
And I think honestly the most interesting, or not the most interesting thing, but like when I saw that the deluxe came out, I saw 5 tracks. I was like, oh God, okay. Like, you know, this is really growing on me. Like even like the deep cuts that I wasn't necessarily listening to, like Jesus Crisis, which is an amazing song, by the way. Or like Frontlines, which is super incredibly important. Just like his take on, you know, it's like a more of a story version of like the Black Lives Matter kind of thing. Just talking about like, his hypothetical son getting shot in the back by a police officer, just stuff like that. It's crazy. But he brings on these 2 rappers named Jay Skis and Love the Genius. Both of them are on the same track in Crack in the 90s, and then Jay Skis comes up again on Stephon Diggs, which is the last track on the deluxe. What's insane is that both of them, as of today, or last time I checked, they have like less than 500 monthly listeners on Spotify. I don't know how he found these people, but they're cracked. They fucking slid. Like, they did what they had to. Jay Skis, he says, the shit I'm drafting, not even Mel Kiper could make a mock of mines. Mel Kiper is like the NFL mock draft guy. He's an NFL analyst. He makes mock drafts, whatever. The shit I'm drafting, not even Mel Kiper could make a mock of mines. It's hard to get clear like Concord 11 souls that's oxidized. I'm dope personified. See, my drive is vehicular homicide. The playing field will never be level because we are not aligned.
Oh, good.
Dude, that's insane. But I
That's
think
not even the best part.
Yeah.
I think Love the Genius has the best bar of the universe. She says, me, you know the smell when the stove on. He positively atom like a proton. Like, dude, what? I can't.
Whoa.
That's like one of the best verses I've heard all year.
She sounds deranged. She literally sounds like she has a gun to the back of her head and she will die if she doesn't rap the best thing she's ever done in her life.
I said when I heard it, like she's rapping like it's the last verse she'll ever make.
Dude, there's like one part where, and I think this is like the part in her verse where she truly goes off the rails when she starts saying, says, told myself that I'd be different, tried owning a business, but shit, I wrote my bylaws from what I learned in them trenches. That's the toughest thing that's ever been said. Like, dude, this whole album is just tough. It's beautiful. It's heart-wrenching. It's everything that I could need in just a grimy ass rap Griselda album. And I am in love with Conway. I'm so excited. I would have never seen this being my number 2 album of the year, but he just infected me. He just stuck around and I can't deny it. All right, Sam.
Let me introduce the artist behind my number 2 album of the year. Author, singer, dancer, exotic olive oil taster.
No
actor.
way. That's your number 2?
Donald
Only for
I'm happy.
motherfucking Dolphins by Action Bronson is my number 2 album of this year. This was a year where, like I said before, I took off from listening to new releases. I just had a lot of older releases that I wanted to listen to and that were really, like, they were doing me good. I wasn't seeking out any new music besides what I had. But there was one album that broke through that barrier, and this was it. It's pure joy for me. It's everything I could ever want in a rap album or just an Action Bronson album. I'm a huge fan of his, and I think he's been on a downward trend for a long time. So for him to bounce back like this, not only like in his music, but his life, he's completely turned his life around. He's in great shape now. And I think that new mentality that he has brought to his life is so present on this album. There's so much passion involved in the music, so much love for what he's doing. I wish I, did what Ben did and just wrote down my favorite quotables, because that's all I do is just think about Action Bronson lines.
Wherever
we talked about the butt naked ripping up the slopes, butt naked jumping off of boats. My alibi was being naked in Seattle, and then the ad lib is I was. It just makes me so happy. I had a great listen the other day. I was driving to the beach with like palm trees just like going by me, surrounded by water in the Tampa Bay, and I was just like, yeah, this is number 2 for this year. Fuck it. I'm so happy this album exists. Power bombing through the dinner table. It sounded like a moose hit a Winnebago.
Dude, I can't.
Ugh.
Yeah, he has achieved that status as a rapper for me of I believe everything that you say.
Yes.
Even if it's literally impossible. It can't happen. I believe it.
Action Bronson wouldn't lie to me.
though.
Like I know that for a fact. Yeah, no, I think my favorite cut from this album, one of my favorite songs from this year, honestly, is Vega.
Yes, dude. Oh my
That
god.
piano, like, is, oh my god, it's just so joyous. The way that, man, I can't. That's a good pick. Like, I know I knew that you fucked with it, but I didn't know you fucked with it like that.
Oh my
It's
god.
just, it's so perfect for you though. Like
Thank
if you
It just
presented
makes
this
sense.
group of people and said one of them had Only for Dolphins as number 2, it's Sam easily.
I mean, just look at who's posting his posts on their Instagram.
every post. There's one on there right now.
I know, I saw it today.
Also shout out to Hologram's verse on Mongolia, where he opens with "I eat African shrooms while rapping on tombs back in June when I clapped at your goon." Come on. Come on.
What are you up to, dog?
Yeah. I can't say anymore. I can't
Good
do it.
Hilarious album.
All right, Jacob.
This next one is so embarrassing.
What is slightly better
Let
than
it out.
1520?
1,000 Gex and the Tree of Clues.
That's not embarrassing.
Wearing
Thank
your
you,
It's not KOD.
It's
Never
not
been
Dark
KOD.
Lane Demo.
It could never be a KOD.
Pooping
It's
in the
nowhere near
snow.
KOD. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is another one of those just like emotional ones where I'm just like, this kind of like again represents like, I guess this is like the middle of quarantine at this point. But like, yeah, I don't know. This album, I just like, I think this is my most listened to album this year. And like, I don't know, looking at the track list right now, there's really nothing that I can't run back. I mean, the Ringtone remix is already this stuff a legend. The Get To You remix with Danielle Harl, just fucking ridiculous. Hand Crushed by a Mouth with fucking Fall Out Boy. How? And then I think the 745 Sticky Black Dresses remix is some of like the hardest shit that I've ever heard, even though it, again, no reason, no right to work, but all of it does. And I think, what was it? Gex was my number 2 last year, I think, or like somewhere around there. And like, I feel like this is kind of just like that album, but more. And I think it kind of just like solidifies the wave. But I also think it definitely showcases like the progression that the group has had like since last year. Like, I think that again, like Toothless and Came to My Show are like easily some of the best tracks. I think it shits on a lot of the stuff from the original album. I think the Get remix, which is basically a completely different song, like at this point, is just fucking ridiculous. And I mean, fucking, what is it? Little West and Tony Villar's verses on that shit. Expensive. Pull up with Sticks Like a Ball Team. Okay, like, all right, just fucking. And then like Hand Crushed by a Mouth, except for like the No Thank You remix, which we don't have to talk about, but like everything else, Umar went fucking ridiculous on the Ringtone remix. Stupid Horse remix with Girlfriend of the Year, who I didn't even really listen to up until that point. Again,
That's
has
an
no
L,
right.
and you better fix that expeditiously.
Not a huge fan of that remix. I can't lie.
Oh,
I've
that's
just
okay, you can be
never
wrong.
been able to hop on the GFOTY wave.
Same.
That's okay. That's okay, you know.
Too sad.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I just like, I would just ride my bike to this album all the time, and like,
That's the
I,
cutest thing I've ever heard.
yeah, no, it was just like fucking good. And like when 745 Black Dresses remix came on, what else am I to do except spaz? It was just a fucking incredible time. And I don't know, even the lyrics on, let me look up the lyrics from Toothless. Jimmy knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, but
Because we looked at each other on that fateful day, and we
was
were like, I thought I was always gonna be broke. And it was like a
Oh,
moment
God.
that we shared.
It was fucking beautiful. It's just like, and Laura Less's bridge on the Get remix where she says like, I'm not stronger than you. Just, I don't know. There's just so many like transcendent moments on this album that like, I don't know, it has this like really special place in my heart. And I think as like showcasing like the wave of like the rising wave of like PC music and hyperpop, as well as just like showcasing like their growth as a group, I think it's just like, it's really boundless. Like there's no like genres on this album. Everything is just like, it's like going from like trap to like fucking like EDM and like nightcore shit, and then like back to like, I don't know, like almost like country sounding shit. And like it's just like a whole like embraceable of like everybody in the scene. And I think it's kind of just like representative of like everything that they've like done and managed to do from like last year to like now. But I feel like kind of just like a culmination and embracing of like a whole bunch of different things, like the Injury Reserve remix, which I'm not a huge fan of, but like I think that even just the willingness to like
It's dirty.
have them on here, I know it's a hot take, but like just the willingness to like have them on here and let them do, they did so many things to that beat that are just like not right, and like it's just insane. And I think I mean that in a good way. I think that like what they did on that track, like production wise, is like really just like avant-garde and like left field, and I appreciate the fact that it's here. I appreciate that like the platform for all of these artists is here, and like I think that like, again, to have fucking Lil West and like Fall Out Boy and Black Dresses on the same album is just like representative of something just like really, really cool. And I'm glad that like this platform and that these people exist, and this album is just, I guess, really important to me because of that.
Hey, go off.
Can't be
Hey.
mad. Can't be mad at all.
So we've arrived.
Wait,
No,
Jamie's
it's
got
Jamie's
this.
Well,
Oh
I
no!
mean-
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm
Yo,
sorry.
fuck you, Ben.
Damn.
I'm a bad friend.
It's hard to be a Jamie. My number 2 was my number 1 for a very long time. This is the most listened to album of this year for me. Just one that, like Ice Peak, inexplicably hit different. Stars by Young Lean.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That
Mhm.
this is the Young Lean album. I cannot imagine that we get more Young Lean from here in terms of just like how quality he can be under that name. We're getting the absolute best melodies and lyrics and choruses that we could possibly get from him. We are getting the best production from White Armor that we could possibly get. And he's not afraid to try out new shit. Like, the only feature on here is Ariel Pink, which is like, it's pretty. That song being the only feature, it's right in the middle of the album, and it's the name of the album, is such a transcendent moment, and it's encased in some of my favorite songs from the album, which is Acid at 7-Eleven and Hellraiser.
Hell yeah.
Violence, when that came out as a single, I remember distinctly thinking, this is the best Young Lean song I've ever heard. And then Yayo is, thank God we did not get the Cardi verse on
Oh, yeah.
Yayo, because it truly was ass. And Yayo is probably, like, I've hyped up in this moment already like 3 songs from this. Yayo is probably my favorite song off the album. And it would definitely not be if the Cardi verse stayed on there. But, I mean, I don't know. There's really not that much to say other than it's like a Parasite thing to me, where the movie Parasite is just like executed perfectly on every single front. It doesn't do anything too crazy. It's just presented absolutely perfectly. And that's how I feel about this. I don't think it's like anything too like extremely groundbreaking for Young Lean. Like, he's trying new shit, but it's not like he's going like completely wild with it. But everything that he's doing perfectly. I can't imagine like really anything on this album being better than it is. And to start with a song like My Agenda, like probably the noisiest, craziest like Young Lean song, to have that as the intro is it's just nuts. Listening to this, like it almost makes you feel like you're in his shoes, because when I listen to this, I think, what a fucking wacky life this man must live on a day-to-day basis. I mean, with the song Acid at 7-Eleven, like inspired by him being on acid at 7-Eleven and watching a man like bust his head open in the middle of a floor, which has to be the most horrifying thing you can see at the time. Probably, I can't remember what song it is. I want to say like Low or maybe Sunset Sunrise, but he talks about like the death of one of his friends, and he just sums it up so perfectly with, yeah, I had a friend, we were lost, but we'll meet again. like just a simple little like thing like that just hits so different the more you listen to it. And then you have just that counterbalance with like the more fun, airy songs like Pikachu or Dog Boy or Hellraiser. It just sounds like when you read his Wikipedia, this man, Young Lean, has had like so much like heavy shit, like so much trauma in his life, because the guy's been popular since he was like 14 on an international level, which has to be like such a just weird thing to deal with. And it feels like finally on this album that he's like allowing himself to feel more positively about his entire life as a whole. And it's just it came at the right time, because this album will just always put me in a good mood. And especially for like, not again not to be cliche, but this kind of year where I can just have like an automatic like make me happy album just to put on shuffle, because it is so easy to listen to. And to go on the production again, every beat's awesome. Every beat is perfect. They're perfectly mixed. They sound full and enveloping, but not crushing. They're beautiful. They have like little synthy chirps all over them that keep them fresh. I love it. I love this album. I'm shocked it's not my number one, because it was for a while, but I really, really do like this album.
Do you like it more than Stranger?
Definitely. If Stranger at the time was probably like the best Young Lean, this feels like Stranger 2, and in the most positive of ways. Because when I go back to Stranger, there's a lot of songs on here where I'm like, oh, this is pretty good, but I don't remember Stranger as a whole. Versus this came out the same day as How I'm Feeling Now. And
I was literally just about to ask, because I was like, I'm pretty sure they
and I think something else came out that day. I can't remember if it was like Fetch the Bolt Cutters or not, but something else big came out that day.
Like that, yeah.
And when everything came out and I listened to all of it, it was very telling to me that the first thing I wanted to go back to was this album over a new Charlie album, of all things.
That is nutso, honestly. Wow.
I would not have anticipated my enjoyment of this album as much as I did.
So now I can say that we have arrived. It's been a long journey, fellas. Exponentially longer than any of us could have ever intended.
It's really long. It's really
Nobody's
long.
listening
Yep.
to this.
It's just us.
Nobody's gonna get to this point in the podcast.
I'm not going to get to this point in the podcast. It's fine. Number one, the first one to reveal his number one is Bread. We're all fiending to know.
Jacob, if this is your number one too, go ahead and hop in. We can do a collabo.
I feel like it probably is.
Circles by Mac Miller.
Yeah. Let's tag team this one. No surprise.
I don't even really know why it clicks so much, but like I guess what Ben said, it just feels warm. And if I describe this album in one word, it would be like comfortable.
Yeah.
It just sets such a comfortable mood. And
there's just
like,
something about it.
And obviously like the lyrics at this point, like in light of him dying, take on a completely different meaning.
Good news is like almost like prophetic.
Yeah, when he's like,
that's okay. Scary.
When I'm flying, it makes him so uncomfortable. Or there's a whole lot more for me waiting on the other side. Obviously, that's going to resonate completely differently now.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like throughout his like career and discography, it's kind of like when he says a line that's like, if there's a random chance that you fucking up my Phantom plans, I'm gonna go bananas and blam him into the ambulance. You're just like, okay, and this is a line from like 2013 on an Absol song for sure. But like, I feel that like when it comes to like this album, there's definitely been like points in his career where he's like written some pretty just like very just like all-encompassing songs, but I feel like every like song on this album is just like so universal. Like it just feels like almost timeless music in the way that he's just like writing everything. Like I don't know, there's just like something to a song like Blue World, or even what is it? Complicated, or even I Can See Her Everybody, where it's just like the lyrics don't feel like they're tethered to like one point in time or like one like feeling. And I think that the production, which John Bryan handled a lot of, like I think lends a lot to that. I think it just feels very like, I don't want to say cinematic because it's not like, it doesn't feel like a movie, but there's just something like ethereal that's beyond just like most like regular hip hop. And it's obviously not a hip hop album, even though there are like elements to it. But like, I don't know, there's something about the production that just feels very like, I don't know, ethereal and like almost just like beyond like any real genre. It's just like, I don't know, like his feelings like personified. And I think the fact that like only like half the production was even done on this album by the time he was like dead, I think is just like a testament to like how good the songwriting is, and I think how good a producer John Bryan is. There are lyrics on here where it says, "Haven't seen like the sun in a minute, but I heard that the sky's still blue," and like I mean, just like bars like that. I think that like over the course of his career, he got a lot better at saying things in a way like where he would like take a very complex idea and like just like parse it down to a sentence. And I think there are lines like that all over here. Production on shit like, yeah.
There's a line like that on Hand Me Downs where he says trying to find it.
Dude, that's like my favorite thing is like taking these grand concepts and like boiling them down to their core and like presenting them in the simplest way that you would have never thought of.
Like he says, well, I'm just being honest, my conscience ain't doing bad because I try to minus the problems that I attract. It's so simple, but it just speaks a lot.
Also a bar.
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, no, or even just like something like, I hate the feeling when you're high, but you're underneath the ceiling. Got the cards in my hand, I hate dealing. Like, again, these are like simple ass bars, but like they're just like, they're saying so much. And like, again, I think that like the approach to this album feels very much more like less of a rapper and more of just like a songwriter, and a fucking good one at that. And I think that like, even on songs that like he didn't write, like the cover of Everybody, it's just like really fucking like, the perspective that he brings to it just with his voice and the production, I think just like stand out from pretty much anything else. Even lyrics where he's just like, feel like I've seen a million sunsets, and if you're with me I'll never go away. Like, again, those aren't even his like lyrics, but they just feel like so like, I don't know, impassioned and just like part of his story. I think it takes like the best and like most emotional elements of stuff like Swimming and Faces and kind of like makes them into this all-encompassing thing, because like Faces is like not only long as shit, but just like a really tough listen because you're just listening to a drug addict like basically be like, yeah, I'm cool with dying. And then like Swimming, I can understand why somebody might be like turned off by that album, by some of like the production choices or the singing choices. But I feel like here he's kind of like using like the best parts of those and taking like the darkness from like those different parts of his career and like making it just like really, really relatable. And instead of like on albums where he's like talking about drug addiction and you're just like, this is kind of worrying. But like here, it's just like, I don't know. He doesn't seem like he has it figured out, but he seems like he's like trying. And that's like, I don't know, all you can do. And it feels like comfortable to know that like, I don't know, there's just like something in the lyrics that are just like, yeah, makes you feel like, all right. I can't listen to Woods without like tearing up. Like, man, yeah.
This like,
he's doing a lot on this album. It was really great.
Like he really just came into his own on this album. And it sucks that he's like, that's where he's leaving it. It's like if Kendrick just dropped off the face of the earth after making To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah, no, exactly. But just like, yeah, no, everything he did, everything he tackled, just like really, really fucking good. There's not a bad track on here. Even the fucking deluxe tracks are like really good and like really well written. And I think like as a swan song to like his career, you can't really, I think it's interesting because it definitely doesn't have, there's not like, there's no like shades of like watching movies or like even like Faces production wise, like in this, like you wouldn't like really be able to tell. But I think that like that showcases the evolution like even more, that like the same dude that made like Blue Slide Park and Macadelic can like make something like this. And I feel like it was kind of just like just perfect like encapsulation of like where he was at the time and like him as an artist. And yeah, no, I don't know. It's just a really fucking good album. It's really unfortunate.
Mm-mm. That is a great pick from both of you.
Album of the year.
All right. Well, I guess I'll follow that up. This one we've talked about a lot. I don't know if this is going to be surprising that I picked this or not. It's not for me personally. This is kind of the layup pick for most of the year. But my number one is I Disagree by Poppy.
Hey.
Understandable.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We said a lot of things. First Poppy song I ever heard was Play Destroy. That's exactly what I wanted. I was fiending for that. I listened to Am I a Girl? A couple good songs on there, but didn't really keep me in. Chokibi came out. I saw New Direction. Scary Mask was crazy. Choke, Me. But then she also had a really pretty side with Holy Mountain, and that intrigued me a lot. And so I was very excited because all of the singles that came out for this were fucking flames. And it's a 10-track album, not a lot of room for error, and I don't really think there was much, if any, to be honest with you. I mean, like, obviously, you know, we said the big ones. Blood Money will always be, I mean, the first time I heard Blood Money, there's nothing like it. Like, that song is incredible. The music video with it, just that everything about it was awesome. Lyrically, I don't think this album does anything like too extraordinary, but the concepts are there. Lyrics are always catchy at the very least, so I really don't have any complaints in that department. Concrete, great intro. It's like getting hit with like a Kyrie Irving like quadruple crossover, going from these incredibly pretty like choruses to these disgustingly like sludgy and grimy bridges and back and forth, but it works somehow. I don't know, like the ending of Concrete, the outro is just pretty and catchy, and like I'd be comfortable showing that to anyone and being like, yo, is this pretty? And they'd be like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, transitions, Blood Money, Anything Like Me, all great bangers in their own way. Like, I think this album does a great job of every song feeling distinctly different, but also in the same vein. All of them feel like this is I Disagree by Poppy. But no song is alike the other at all. There's different electronic like influences here and there, little interpolations, more heavier here and there. I think what impresses me the most is how she balances between heavy and tough and just pretty. Because I love my little indie music. I love my little pretty music. And for Blood Money and Sick of the Sun to exist on the same album is really dope to me. And then Don't Go Outside. I mean, we've talked about it already. An amazing outro. She samples herself the way all of them build on each other, interpolate. It's awesome. Yeah, I just think it's great. I really do. I found a quote that I think it describes this pretty well, because her collaborator, Titanic Sinclair, who they have now broken up, he's canceled because he's manipulative and abusive, all of that good stuff. But before we knew all that, he said he describes some of this record as abrasive and glitchy chunks of sound. And I think that's a pretty great way to put a lot of these songs. Glitchy banger, Feel the Crown, Nothing I Need, which is like our first like step back to take a breath, take in what you're going into, and then you go into Sit Stay, which kind of brings the energy back, and then you go to Bite Your Teeth, which might be the hardest song on here, maybe. And then you go into Stick of the Sun, and then that's when you're riding and you're like, wow, this is wavy and this is awesome. Yeah, literally nothing. I mean, there's probably a lot of nostalgia with this being the last concert that we went to, and it being such a good concert. with so many good people there. But yeah, I think it's pretty much a perfect album. I will say the 1 through 3 are kind of interchangeable. I feel like I Disagree is the easiest pick for me. But if I were really feeling it, I could probably throw Conway up there in like a couple weeks. And then maybe a revisit on Alfredo. But yeah, I Disagree is my number 1 for now.
Wonderful. My album of the year. It was my album of the year from first listen, and I've only come to love it much, much more. It is Heaven to a Tortured Mind by Yves Tumor.
Caleb Moss.
Shout out the fucking God, Caleb Moss, for putting me on. There is even nostalgia with this album somehow because of Caleb putting me on to Gospel for a New Country. We were riding in my car to go see The Godfather in theaters. God damn,
What a story.
Love that guy.
Story.
But yeah, no, this album, it's every single song feels like its own universe that you can get sucked into and live there forever. This album, I'm not positive, but it may have like crash landed on Earth. Like it's sort of like an alien project that like just slipped out the back door and then was a fireball and just right into my fucking noggin.
That dude is definitely a reptile. There's no way.
I mean, this is Ben Glover and Caleb Moss, friends of the show. They've said this many times. This is a Bowie album almost. This feels like someone who is beyond mastering their aesthetics and is living them. I mean, Sean Bowie is the name of the man behind Yves Tumor, and just every aspect of this album feels so geniusly configured. It's almost perfect. It's very close to a 10 for me. And I mean, Kerosene, that song is just sex on fire. It's a smell-o-vision kind of song where you can smell the gasoline through your speakers. Romanticist to Dream Palette is the perfect 1-2 punch. It just, I love this album. I love it so much. It's perfect.
Damn.
A dope album. I should have given it more time.
See, I feel bad because I did revisit it and I didn't like it as much as I liked it the first time.
You just broke his heart.
Yeah, I know. I almost wasn't gonna say it, but then it is.
No,
good.
speak your truth.
You're
Cam.
a bad person.
I'm a bad friend. I am.
Jamie.
All right, I'm
Take us
gonna
home,
make.
baby.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make this quick because we talked about it, and also I have to wake up for my job in 5 hours. I
I'm
didn't
so
think
sorry.
this would fucking
Literally,
take this long.
yeah.
I'm
How
so
could
sorry.
we possibly talk for 4 hours?
I'm so sorry.
Nobody's listening to this.
My number 1 album of the year, A Written Testimony.
Let's
it's
go.
too easy. It's too easy.
That's crazy.
It's. I didn't give a fuck about Jay Electronica. I don't care about the whole saga of it not coming out. I don't care, which is why people get mad about it. Like, I waited 10 years for that. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. It's just good. It's just really, really good. I don't care if Jay-Z's on half the album because it's good and it works. That's not a negative thing at all. Playing off what Brendan said, I like Jay Electronica. No one's doing it like him. I've not heard anyone rap like him, use the words like him, say those words in the way like him. But we could talk about that forever. And Jay-Z being Jay-Z, that's incredible. But what really like struck me the most about this album was the production. I've never heard an album that sounded like this before. You can't play for me a song that sounds like Shiny Suit Theory. You can't play for me a song that sounds like Flux Capacitor, and especially Ezekiel's Wheel. There's nothing on planet Earth that sounds like it, at least that I've heard. Universal Soldier was like this when I first heard that song, I was already loving the album. When I heard Universal Soldier, that like locked me in. I knew it was going to be at least a top 10 album of the year. I think when I heard it, I described that song as like a Clams Casino beat from Mars, because it's nuts. And then API DTA has my favorite lyric of the entire year, which is, I wonder if trees get sad when they see that leaves fell. Like, even saying it just now, like, I have goosebumps. I can think of like moments. I can think of like moments from almost every single song off this album and give myself goosebumps, even if I'm listening to nothing.
That's the part where he rhymes that shit with the Eiffel Tower, but he pronounces it Eiffel, right?
Yeah.
What? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, we've said pretty much everything that we could. It's just it's a vibe. It's a really fucking good album.
So good.
Dude.
Wow.
If anyone has made it this far, literally, we need to pay you for it.
Maybe you're just Ryan.
Yeah, what up, Ryan?
That's it.
Okay,
I doubt it. We're at like 3 hours now.
I think
We are
more.
so past 3 hours.
Yeah, we are past.
Yeah, no, we're
When
almost
did we start?
4.
This is terrible. This is like somehow like longer than our last
So
one.
much worse than I thought.
Well, to be fair, we did add a whole ass like member. So
This is true.
Yeah.
To be fair, the one thing that I want to say is I want to do the first honorable mention, and I want to give a shout out to, if anyone is listening, whether it's Mr. Ryan White or anybody else, I want you to drop what you're doing, and I want you to go listen to a man by the name of Dad Body.
Dad Body.
I want you to go listen to his EP called Body of Work, because it's genuinely a great EP. There was just so much good music that came out this year. I so desperately wanted it to make my top 20 and it just missed the cut. But this man is criminally underrated. I personally want all of us to be responsible for gassing up his career from the jump. I want him to make it. I want him to experiment, and I want him to keep doing his Dad Body thing and keep evolving and making more music. And I'm just really excited to see where he goes from here. Criminally underrated. Dad Body. Check him
Dad
out.
Body. Body with an I, not a Y. Don't get it twisted.
Bars. Have
All right.
Daddy on your grave.
I have to shout out a few albums.
Canopy, just all kinds of. He just is he's the truth. He really is. So shout out Dad Body.
All right.
Do you have any other honorable mentions we want to throw out there?
I gotta throw out.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna say nothing and get off because I need to go to bed immediately.
Fair enough.
Yes,
Otherwise,
sir.
I'm gonna have a miserable day of work.
I'm sorry.
So, why? I mean, it's fine.
Dang.
I'm sorry.
I wish we could talk shop more,
I'm
but
sorry.
I'm grateful for you boys. I'm glad we can all talk music. I'm glad we added a new member, and I really hope next year is the one where we can actually do more shit and maybe even branch out of the music thing. Who
That would
knows?
be cool.
But I love all you guys genuinely, and I love the 30 people listening. So
That's a big number.
Don't worry, we'll get 30 random views on YouTube somehow.
we'll get 28 robots, me watching the whole thing and falling asleep, and Ryan.
And then somehow 9 dislikes.
Yeah.
Instantly. Instantaneously.
All right, bye boys.
Hi, James.
Peace and
Love,
love,
Jamie.
gang.
Bye, James.
We got a few shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
Savage Mode 2.
Literally.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Anime Trauma and Divorce. Open Mic
Hey.
Eagle. Really cool album. Dedicated Side B. It's more good Carly.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yes.
Planets Mad by Bauer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I really loved Unlocked by Denzel Curry.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good-
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of stupid because I had a whole list of albums to re-listen to, and then I deleted them. I made my list.
Oh, the Haim album. Haim album was good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I would have forgotten to shout that out, and that was close to making the cut, but it probably would have been like 25 or something like that. A very good record though. Has one of my favorite songs from the year, which I'm currently blanking on, so that's
Is
embarrassing.
it the Alone one?
I Know Alone.
Yeah.
No, I actually don't think it's that one. I think it's wait, maybe it is. Hold on. It's I can hear the chorus in my head. No, you're right. It is I Know Alone.
I Know You.
Yeah, you know me better than I do.
I got a couple albums.
3.
What
Oh,
was
you
it?
got it. Go for it,
Yeah.
Jake.
Oh, dude, shit, sorry. Yeah, no, I got Man on the Moon 3. I surprisingly have Chip Chrome and The Monotones, which is a Neighborhood album, but it's really fucking good. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Favorite song off there for me, Boohoo. I fucking love that song.
Boohoo's crazy. Lost in Translation is really fucking good too.
Mhm.
Oh no, that album like really surprised me this year. It didn't make it just because there were other albums I like more, but the album's really good. Rico Nasty's album, I liked it. Definitely not making the top 20, but I really like where she's going. I like her as an artist. Omar Apollo's album, fucking crazy. There's one more. I said Man on the Moon 3 already. And Unlocked. Yeah, definitely fucking Unlocked. I think that was it. Unlocked was so man.
All right, Sam,
Just
fill
listen
some holes.
tomorrow.
Fill some holes.
Big shout out to Shy Girl. I listened to that shit on the way home from getting Outback Takeout tonight, so I was just swanging on the highway. listening to it. Let's go. It was wonderful. Great time. Two that I've waned on a little bit, but were incredible first listens were I Disagree and A Written Testimony. Obviously, they've gotten a lot of play during this pod. I don't have to talk about them.
Chatter about those two.
The Flatbush Zombies live EP they just released. It's just 3 songs done live, but I love the way they sound. I hope that Eric starts like integrating live music into the group because I think it's a great setting for them.
Radar, no idea.
And then 2 Holes. First, Whole New Mess, which it's almost entirely just for the first song because that song is just so powerful to me, means so much to me, came to me at a really essential time. The rest of the album's good too, but that first song is what brings it here. And Whole Lot of Red is the second hole. It just deserves a shout out. It really does.
When Sam
and
took off
then-
his shirt, all the hoes stopped breathing.
That's just facts. And then the re-releases of Fly God, Reloaded, and Fede des Morts, aka Dia de los Muertos, which is a Makami album entirely produced by Earl Sweatshirt. Yeah, so I mean that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Reloaded is maybe my favorite Rock Marciano album, and Fly God is West Side Gun's second best album. It's his, Illmatic. It's his career-defining album. And the fact that these are all on streaming services now is a blessing that we all deserved.
Jacob's name.
I'm too close.
Oh, shit.
Think too hard. Don't come to.
We did it.
Oh, I guess
We did it.
speaking of that, I guess shout out Lil Baby for that single. I respect him for that this year.
That's how
The bigger
far
picture.
Lil Baby's my favorite rapper.
That's how far down we
Yeah.
are right now. Yeah.
I gotta shout out. Honestly, the Juice WRLD album was pretty good. That was all right.
Interesting. I never gave it a listen.
And shout out Groggs, too. Rest in peace, King.
Rest in peace, Groggs. Rest in peace, Mac Miller.
Big rocks.
See, I gotta
Forever.
say, like the thing with Groggs is like with Mac, I was kind of late. Like he'd always been on my radar, but I didn't do like a deep dive into his discography. Well, I'd heard stuff, but I didn't do like a deep appreciative dive. Like it's like I'd heard it enough to say like I'd heard it, you know what I mean? But I never like actually went back and whatever. So when he died, obviously like I was upset, but I didn't truly like appreciate what we were missing out on until after the fact, going back and listening to Faces and watching movies and all that. But with Groggs, like obviously the not nearly as big of a figure, but it was the first like quote unquote celebrity death that felt like more real to me, because the Injury Reserve concert in whatever it was, March or February, whatever, that was the first time I'd ever gone to the front row of a concert. Groggs is literally the only artist that I've ever touched in my life at a concert. And a few months later, he's gone. And that was just insane. Like that one hit really hard. Like I remember the exact play. Like I was on a lake, like on a boat, and I looked at my phone and I got like either it was like you guys texted or I saw it on Twitter or something, and I was devastated.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Juice WRLD.
Well, on that happy note.
Yeah.
I was gonna say what a note to end on.